All right, thank you for your patience. We are actually going to return to closed session at the conclusion of this meeting, so we're not going to do any report out from the closed session right now. We have a bunch of topics that deserve a little bit more conversation, so we're going to continue that after this meeting, and then we'll report out after we conclude those discussions. So I am going to call to order the regular meeting of the Folsom City Council for November 9th, 2021. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Council members Aquino.
Here.
Chalem-Cherla.
Here.
Howell. Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
And Kozlowski.
Here. And if everybody will please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any agenda updates?
You have one agenda update this evening, Mr. Mayor. Item number 14 has additional information provided by staff. This has been given to the city council members and is available to the public at the table in the back of the room.
All right. Fantastic. Okay, so we'll do business from the floor first. That is an opportunity for anybody that's here in the audience or on the phone to comment on items that are not on the agenda, and I believe we have a couple of speaker cards turned in already. So we're going to call those, and if anybody else would like to comment, please fill out a blue speaker card and bring it up.
So your first speaker this evening is Bhaskar Vampati. Come on up.
Respected City Mayor, Council members, Folsom City Management and staff. My name is Bhaskar Vempati. I'm the President of Indian Association of Sacramento. I want to thank the Folsom City Council and the staff management for working hard to make the city safest and best city to live in. We are a lot of Indians, Hindu Indians are celebrating Diwali over the globe. I want to thank Folsom City to allow the Indian community to do firecrackers during the Diwali time. Diwali is the festival of lights. It symbolizes a victory of good over evil, sharp intellect over the spiritual darkness, and knowledge over the ignorance. We all come together, celebrate, and also help the needy during this time. Regarding the, we have over 60,000 Indians in the greater Sacramento, and it's no wonder 15,000 city live in Folsom because it's the safest. Indian Association is an umbrella organization of 15 plus regional organizations, and we all bring the diverse Indian culture to single platform to showcase it to Indian local community as well as the future generations of Indians. It's an IAS not only cultural organization, it's a non-profit organization. We have, every year we select local charity and Indian charity, and we supported over 30 plus charities with $200,000 contribution. This year I'm very glad to let you know that we selected Folsom Hope as our local charity, and we are going to donate $7,500 on November 11th. To thank everyone, the Folsom City, we distributed gift baskets to Folsom Police Station, all the 5 fire stations earlier this week. And IAS also do a lot of initiatives, including women empowerment, mental wellness seminar, and youth development, and also participate in MLK Walk, Veterans Day Parade. We also, whenever there are challenges like fires, floods, or the COVID, Indian Association always come forward and help the community. We have 15 plus organizations. Our partnering organization, Hindu Swayam Sevak, is raising like a lot of food items during the Diwali time, and we donate it to all the local food banks and needy shelters. We raised over 3,000 pounds in a greater Sacramento area last year, and 300,000 pounds over the United States. We are going to showcase our cultural performance after my speech. I want to thank you all once again for working hard to make the Folsom safest and best city to live in. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next speaker is just identified as HSS, Cultural Performance. Would you like to come on down? And for those of you on the phone, if I can just remind you, please to mute your phone. Thank you.
This is the best place we could find to do that performance. I hope it's okay.
You could come down in front if you wanted to. If that works, stay there, that's fine.
That works because that has enough space.
Okay, great.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, and to these very talented young people. I'm sure you put a lot of time in preparing that. Thank you very much for all the practice time and bringing that here for us. Okay, Any other business from the floor? Okay, hearing none, we will move on with our first presentation of the night.
Yeah, your first scheduled presentation, item number 1, is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom proclaiming the month of November as Veterans and Military Families Month in the city of Folsom. Come on down.
All right, so joining me down here at the microphone is Suzanne Winters and Tish Lavasani, who are accepting this proclamation from the mayor. They're from the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 383 of Fair Oaks, and Tish is the commander of the American Legion Post 632 here in Folsom. So welcome, both of you. And the proclamation says the following. This is a proclamation of the mayor of the city of Folsom declaring the month of November as Veteran and Military Families Month in the city of Folsom. The United States is a beacon of hope, freedom, and opportunity to people around the world, and the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard members who fight to defend our liberty embody courage, patriotism, and loyalty. And America's military men and women and their families are vital to the security and prosperity of our nation. We have a responsibility to protect and serve those who have made countless sacrifices for love of country. And throughout our nation's history, our military men and women have boldly answered the call of duty to defend our nation's independence and precious liberties, risking life and limb for their fellow Americans. And military families exemplify the courage and resolve that define our national character. They rise to the challenges of multiple deployments and frequent moves, spouses who care and provide for children in their partner's absence, kids who make new friends and leave known comforts behind. They are the force behind the force, patriots who support their family members in uniform while enriching the communities they call home. And since we are a nation that leaves no Americans behind, and that includes our veterans and their family members, we recognize that our obligation to our military men and women does not end after their time in uniform. And each warrior who fights for our nation along with their families has earned our eternal gratitude. We ask that all Americans thank and support them. Together, we remain committed to fostering a national community of support for these brave heroes and their families. And now, therefore, I, Michael D. Kozlowski, Mayor of the City of Folsom, on behalf of the Folsom City Council and our community, do hereby proclaim the month of November as Veteran and Military Family Month. I urge each individual in the community to thank and support veterans and military families for their contributions to our nation. Thus proclaim this 9th day of November, 2021.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like to make any comments.
Thank you so much. This is just a really amazing. So, my name is Suzanne Winters, and I happen to be the district president of the American Legion Auxiliary. The American Legion Auxiliary was founded in 1919. We're 102 years, I guess, going on. And our sole purpose was to support the aims and purposes of the American Legion and veterans. So this is huge that this proclamation has been done. And I would like to thank you. I would like to thank the mayor and the city council for making this proclamation happen. In 2013, President Obama put this proclamation into motion, and again in 2019, I'm a medical person, President Trump then also made this proclamation for November to be Military, Family, and Veterans Month. So this is very bipartisan. This is huge how we support our military. And it's important to the community to realize this proclamation has been made by our presidents. We want the community to know how important our military families and the veterans are. And it's really special to have the month of November set aside because this week on Thursday, we're celebrating Veterans Day. And so that's dedicated to our veterans. I don't know how many of you know this, but nationally, 22 veterans a day commit suicide. That's huge. So what can we do about that? This is a step in the right direction, making proclamations, letting them know that we care, letting them know that we support them, letting them know that their sacrifices and their children's sacrifices mean something. You know, I have a member here right now that went through her husband's deployment, and their daughter's here. It's a huge sacrifice that families do too. So it's so important that we realize the families also. With me tonight, I brought a very, very special friend of mine, Commander Lovasoni, and she is the commander here in Folsom of the American Legion Post, and she's also a Marine. She's a veteran Marine. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So if you don't mind.
Thank you. So as the Folsom American Legion Post 362 Commander and a Marine Corps veteran, I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the City Council for recognizing our veterans and military family with this proclamation. You know, Folsom is home to a large veterans population. We do have the Folsom Veterans Hall that has 9 organizations. We have the VFW, VFW Auxiliary, the American Legion, Marine Corps League, Military Order of the Devil Dogs, AMVETS, Blue Star Moms, Military Order of the Purple Heart, Military Order of the Purple Heart Auxiliary, and the Submarine Veterans. So if there are any veterans or family of veterans or military families that would like to know about what we offer, just come on down to 1300 Veterans Way in Folsom, and we'd be glad to welcome you in and show you what we do. I also want to give a special thanks to Suzanne and to the auxiliary in Fair Oaks who put this proclamation in front of the mayor and the Citrus Heights mayor to get this on the book. So thank you all, and then a final thank you to all of our veterans and military families.
Thank you so much. This is amazing.
Thank you very much. Okay, will you call the next item, please?
All right, your next item this evening is scheduled presentation number 2. This is the city manager's financial update for the first quarter of fiscal year 2021-22.
Okay, good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Stacy Tamani, Chief Financial Officer, and this financial update for you tonight is a slightly condensed version of my usual quarterly report. We don't usually come this early in the year just due to the lack of data this soon. However, considering the changing financial impacts of COVID-19, we wanted to give you this update. And I'll start off here with this first slide reflecting our fiscal year 2021 budget. That's in your first column here, and then the unaudited figures for fiscal year 2021. We expect the unaudited figure to be about $94.5 million for total revenues and $89.8 million for total expenditures. So revenues less expenditures are at $4.7 million. And although this looks good when you're comparing the total revenues to total expenditures for this year, we have to remember that to get to that $89.8 million in expenditures, we had big cuts, upwards of about $6 million in one-time things that we did, freezing a lot of frozen positions, eliminating a lot of our temporary employee budgets, delaying capital expenditures, and also just using one-time resources in order to get to that $89.8 million. Just for comparison, our fiscal year 20 total expenditures were at $94.5 million. So if we had had that level of expenditures this year, we would have just broken even between revenues and expenditures. We're able to add that CARES Act reimbursement of just over $1 million also into this fiscal year. So we'll have a total change to fund balance of about $5.7 million. And although we're going to be able to add that $5.7 million back into our general fund unassigned fund balance, it doesn't account for the funds we used in our risk management internal service fund. That total use of fund balance will be close to $4.5 million used by the end of fiscal year 21-22. So between those two funds and those fund balances, we're not back to where we were before the impacts of COVID. And we'll take a closer look at the details of that risk management internal service fund a little later on. But what this does to our unassigned fund balance is take us from 13.8 million, where we ended the last fiscal year, to 19.7 million. So that's 15.4% as a percentage of expenditures, up to 21.9% of that low level of expenditures, that 89.8 million. If we were on a normal year, it'd be about 19% of expenditures. This next slide here is the sales tax trend update. We have the unaudited fiscal year 2021 bar. That's the first light blue bar. That's where we expect sales tax to be once the audit is finished. And that brings us up to right about where we were for fiscal year 18-19. And this means that we've had pretty much a full recovery in our sales tax. Our sales tax consultants have now projected just moderate growth for the near future, and so those years are graphed here in the next 3 bars for fiscal years 22, 23, and 24. It's about 3.5% annually over those 3 years. And then what I also did was put that red line in here that goes across the trend that we had been on before the impacts of COVID, and shows you where we might have been had that not happened. And so the difference here between our trend line where we would have been and our current trend line here is about $3 million less each year. Now moving on to our current fiscal year, 21-22. This is our general fund expenditures. We have our unaudited 2021 figures here that we just went over. Then we have our budget for 21-22 at a total of $92.5 million, and our projected expenditures coming in at about $96.8 million. So we're projecting to be about $4.3 million over budget by the end of the fiscal year. Primarily, the reason for this is about $3 million in overtime. A lot of that is coming from our safety departments, both police and fire. Much of that, about $1 million, will be reimbursed by the Office of Emergency Services for the assistance that Folsom provided during the fire season, but the rest of it is just due to operational needs that have occurred over the year or are projected to occur by the end of the year. For operations and maintenance, the second line, we're projecting to come in about $1.1 million over budget, and this is mostly due to contracts that serve the plan area that are paid for by increased community development revenues. So you'll see an increase in revenues on the revenue side when we go over that. I also added in our approved ARPA expenditures that the council approved, $2.2 million worth. So that'll get our total expenditures to about $99 million by the end of the fiscal year. When we look at the expenditures sorted by department here, we have the same total at the bottom, about $99 million. What you're seeing here is that most departments are expected to end the year under budget. This is savings due to keeping current frozen positions frozen for at least part of the fiscal year. You have police and fire over budget. That was primarily for the overtime we spoke about. That'll be partially reimbursed. And then we have community development coming in, projected to come in over budget. And again, that is for contracts for the plan area that get covered by additional revenues. Parks and Recreation, we're projecting them to come in over budget. And this is a projection that if they continue to have their operations bring in the level of revenue that they were able to do in the first quarter, that they would need additional budget to be able to increase their temporary staffing levels. So this is a projection for the end of the year if that happens. I also have the $2.2 million worth of ARPA expenditures included here in non-departmental for our total of $99 million. And now we'll take a look at the city's major revenue sources. We have, again, the same columns, our unaudited figures for fiscal year 2021, our budget for 21-22, and then our projections for 21-22. Starting with property tax, we're projecting property tax to be coming in slightly above budget at about $33 million total. Our sales tax projection is to come in at about $26.5 million. And we aligned that with that updated projection that we just received from our sales tax consultant, and those numbers were reflected on that bar chart that we went over a few slides ago. You'll recall that we were budgeting for sales tax back in February and March, still right in the middle of the COVID restrictions. So with the additional recovery we saw during the summer, our consultant has revised that projection up to this $26.5 million. TOT revenues are projected to come in right at budget. That's our transient occupancy tax. Charges for services in total are projected to come in at about $12.6 million. That's 2.7 higher than budget. And this is a combination of some of the things that we've already talked about. The increased engineering fees from community development that gets primarily passed through for the plan area contracts, reimbursements from the state for the fire strike teams and the police department assistance during the fire season. And then included in here is that projected increase in Parks and Recreation program revenues if their programming continues at that rate that we saw during the first quarter. And then that would be potentially offset with additional programming expenditures. So although we're over budget for this line item, it's offset by those increases in expenditures. Licenses, permits, and VLF is projected to come in a little short of budget, and this is mostly due to that waiver of the business license certificate fees that was approved this year, and then that decrease is partially offset by increased building permit activity in the plan area for a total projection of $11.8 million. We have transfers in and all other revenue projected to come in just right at budget, and then we'll be adding that ARPA funding in here for total revenue of $99.8 million. So when we put those together, we have total revenues projected at $99.8 million by the end of the fiscal year and expenditures at $99 million for a total change in our fund balance of about $768,000. And that is a little below our $900,000 contingency amount that we had in the budget that we had hoped to be able to add to fund balance. But we'll project that we are at $768,000, which would bring our unassigned fund balance to $20.8 million. And as a percentage of expenditures, it actually goes down to 21% from where we were before, because now the expenditure level has increased. And you'll see that graphically here. We had the unassigned fund balance trending up through fiscal year 19, just slowly recovering from the Great Recession through all those years. And just as a note, this fund balance as a percent of expenditures was as high as 26% in 2006 before we had the Great Recession. But in 2019, we were able to get it up to 20% of expenditures, and then we had to use some of that to manage the impacts of COVID-19 in fiscal year 20. Because of that really drastically reduced expenditure budget in fiscal year 21 and the use of the one-time funds, we're going to be able to bring it up to this $19.7 million figure, or 21.9% of expenditures. And then for fiscal year 22, add that bit back to fund balance there to get us to $20.8 million, and it'll come down slightly to 21% of expenditures. And so you're seeing this downward slope starting here as the fund balance of a percentage of expenditures. And this is something that will likely be an ongoing trend as we continue to have increased expenditures, but the city's only able to add a little, if any, to our fund balance. So fund balance as a percentage of expenditures will start to slide back down, even if we don't, that is if we don't have a recession or some kind of other emergency there. So that was the end of the general fund, and now we'll just take a quick look at our risk management internal service fund. This is used to account for the cost of the city's insurance programs. And for the past 2 years, we've had a planned use of reserves. This was our kind of one-time fund that we used to help to manage the budget deficit that we had in fiscal year 20 and 21. And so what we did is we transferred less from the general fund for retiree and active employee benefits than what those benefits actually cost to the city. So what you're seeing here is expenditures of $17 million, $18.8 million, and $20 million, but bringing in revenues only of $14 million and $17.9 million, both far less than what the expenditure level was for each of those years. And so what that did is allowed us to keep the insurance expenses in the general fund stable, even though the cost of the insurance programs increased. This was a strategy that we used. We did it on purpose, but what it has done is taken our unrestricted net position from $9 million down to $4.5 million. And this fund is working as intended, and what we really do need is a plan to be able to replenish this net position so that it continue to be a stabler of insurance costs in future budget years. And as I mentioned early on, we don't have a plan to replenish this. All of the increase in our fund balance was going back to the general fund. And so what that has done to this is taken it from a 50% of annual expenditures, that's what this $9 million basically was, down to $4.6 million, which is about 23% of annual expenditures. So we used nearly half of the reserves in the 2 fiscal years. And I don't have any updates on the enterprise funds this time, just because we're so early in the year. So that is the conclusion of my presentation.
So, any questions? from the council?
I'm good.
YK, anything? Carrie?
Thank you.
Sarah? Okay. I have one, and this is based on other conversations I've had, but the projection of property tax and sales tax revenue, can you just talk a little bit about how it is that we forecast those and what the trending looks like? Because we have communities all around us that have slightly different style tax bases, and that tiny dip in the tiny disconnect in what our our unassigned fund balance is looks to be a longer term trend, right?
Would you like me to start with how we're projecting the sales tax revenue and property
Yeah,
tax?
I think that's the key one, because property tax, we don't have a lot of control over that.
Sure. So sales tax projections do come from our expert consultant. That's
Right.
where we get those from. And of course, COVID has changed the way they're calculating those trends as they're seeing behavior change in recent quarters.
Okay.
As far as how that goes to our unassigned fund balance, was that part of your question?
No, I think my question is what's the what are the basic macro reasons for the forecast being what it is? I mean, why is the percentage of growth projected to be the
Less than where we were at
I
before.
mean because it may not be apparent to everybody, but we've got a little bit of a disconnect between people's expectations and our revenue growth. So
Yes.
Stacy,
just-
maybe you could go back to that slide that shows the trend line where we would have been and how we're significantly
Yeah.
down from that now, just as a visual.
So you could easily, take this trend and connect the dot between the first year and the last year and say that that's the trend, which would be accurate as well. But the growth in expectations, I think, does in fact follow the red line, which means that our revenue is going to fall short at some point.
Correct.
So I guess there's a couple things. The bounce back between 18-19 to 19-20 to 2021, obviously there's the COVID effect there, but why is it that the macro forecast doesn't have it accelerating a little bit more out into the future, or is that just too much to ask for somebody to make a forecast like that?
No, mostly what we're hearing from the consultant is that there's a change in trends, which we see that with purchasing. So people are purchasing more services than they are goods that are taxed. And so that's something to be looked at. Should services produce sales tax? And so that is why it is trending at a lower rate than what it'd be happening before. Also is the online sales making a switch in how much we're getting from that. And so those two combined is what makes it be just a lower trend line than where we were before.
Okay, all right. Well, listen, I've talked to the city manager on this topic and Stacy a number of times, and I think that there's at least a case for us to take a look at what our sales tax rate is locally, which is, very, very low. Not that I'm a big fan of raising taxes or anything like that, but we need to understand what tools we have in our toolbox to make sure that we can continue to have the excellent city services that we expect. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, we are prepared to return at the City Council's December 14th meeting with a new business item to talk about a potential sales tax measure, what that might look like, what drives that, timing for that, for
Terrific.
consideration by the council.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, the consent calendar.
Yeah, your next item this evening is the consent calendar.
All right, any items want to be pulled by any council members for discussion?
I'll move. Yeah, I wanted to pull just for a comment. Hang on, let me find it. Oh, I'll pull item 8 just for comment.
Okay,
I'll move 3 through 11 with the exception of 8.
And I'll second it.
okay, we have a motion and a second on items 3 through 7 and 9 through 11.
Council members Aquino,
Yes.
Chalem Chella,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Kozlowski.
Yes.
And I had a discussion with our utilities director earlier today with regard to commentary that's in the staff report for item 8 about the leak detection system, the leak detection work that's planned. And just for the record, the pipe diameters in the distribution system, that's treated water, range from 1 inch to 24 inches. We do have larger diameter pipelines in the system, but those are on raw water piping. The best example would be the 60-inch diameter pipe that we fixed a few years ago that caused us to save a significant amount of raw water. And I also asked why we were doing leak detection south of the freeway on what is basically brand new piping, but there have been a few issues that were identified, and we need to make those up in our reporting to the state and make sure that they get repaired. With that, I'll move the item.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Councilmembers Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem Chella?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, please call the first new business item.
Okay. Your first new business item is item number 12. This is appointment of an at-large utility commissioner. Let me pass down ballots. So as the council may be aware, one of our current at-large utility commissioners resigned. So it is before the council to make a replacement to that at-large position. And we advertised the vacancy. We received 2 applications, one from George Condon and one from Mark Menz. So as you recall, our process has been to complete the ballots and then tally them on the screen. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just interject a comment. Even with just 2 applicants, we have the same problem we always have. We have more qualified applicants than we have positions available. So I know at least 1 applicant is here, maybe both of them. So thank you very much for applying. And if we don't get you here, maybe we can get you somewhere else on the city. Thank you.
And just for the record, having sat on the Utility Commission, it is the most important commission in the city. More people should go to the meetings.
Or any people should go to the meeting.
All right. So, Councilmember Chalem Chella votes for Mark Menz. Councilmember Rodriguez votes for Mark Menz. Councilmember Howell votes for Mark Menz. Vice Mayor Aquino votes for George Condon. And Mayor Kozlowski votes for George Condon. So we have 3 votes for Mark Menz.
All right. Mr. Menz, by plurality, you are elected to the, appointed to the Utility Commission. Congratulations. Do you have an acceptance speech prepared?
Well, I could say I'm my brother Mike, and you can so thank you, I appreciate it, and I hope you do good justice.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Condon, seriously, thank you very much for also applying, and there will be other openings in the future.
You should probably go introduce yourself to Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus, raise your hand.
Very good. All right, let's call the next item.
All right, your next new business item this evening is item number 13. This is the City of Folsom Community Facility Districts number 23, Folsom Ranch, amended improvement area number 3 and improvement area number 7. There are 3 resolutions with this item. Resolution number 10747, resolution number 10748, and resolution number 10749.
Do we ultimately need to take those individually?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Good evening again, Mayor, members of the council. Stacy Tamani, Chief Financial Officer. This item before you tonight is regarding Community Facilities District number 23. Landowners within the Folsom Plan area previously requested to form CFD 23. It's known as Folsom Ranch, and that was in 2020. CFD 23 includes 6 separate improvement areas. They're designated as improvement area number 1 through improvement area number 6. And the reason for this item tonight is that the landowners have requested to amend the existing boundaries of improvement area number 3 and establish a new improvement area to be called improvement area number 7. The Improvement Area 3 boundary will be amended to exclude property that is expected to be developed into traditional market rate single-family residences. And property remaining within the amended Improvement Area 3 boundaries will only include property to be developed into active adult single-family residences. Property removed from the Improvement Area 3 boundaries will be designated as the new Improvement Area 7. And here we have a map that shows the current Improvement Area 3 here in the dark outline. This will be the new line dividing the two improvement areas. So the striped section here will be the amended Improvement Area 3. And then on this next map, you have this small section here, and this will be the new Improvement Area 7 boundaries. The City Council is being asked to approve the amended Improvement Area number 3 boundary map and the new Improvement Area 7 boundary map. Proposed development within each improvement area includes, within Improvement Area 3, 919 active adult single-family residences, and in Improvement Area number 7, 211 traditional market rate single-family residences. For some information about each of these improvement areas, the amended Improvement Area number 3 will have a facility special tax levied through 2079-80 at the City Council's discretion. It will increase annually by 2%. And the maximum facility special tax will range from $490 to $890 on single-family homes. There's also a services special tax that'll be levied in perpetuity at City Council's discretion and can be increased annually by the CPI not to exceed 4%. And maximum services special tax is $100 per single-family home. The amended Improvement Area number 3 property tax as a percentage of assessed value will range from 1.65% to 1.68%. And the same information here for Improvement Area number 7. They'll be levied through 2079-80, increased annually by 2%, and the maximum facilities special tax ranges will be from $2,350 to $3,075 on a single-family home. It also has a services special tax levied in perpetuity at the council's discretion and will increase annually by the CPI. The maximum services special tax is $177 per single-family home, and the tax as a percent of assessed value ranges from 1.87% to 1.88%. So Resolution 10747 will consider the amended boundaries, the amended rate and method of apportionment, and the amended appropriations limit and maximum bonded indebtedness for Improvement Area 3. Resolution 10748 will approve a boundary map, designate a new Improvement Area 7, and authorize the city to levy special taxes within Improvement Area 7. And Resolution 10749 declares the necessity to incur bonded indebtedness within Improvement Area number 7. If these resolutions are approved, a public hearing concerning the amendment of Improvement Area 3 and a public hearing designating the new Improvement Area 7 will be scheduled, along with an election of owners of property within Improvement Area 3 and the proposed Improvement Area 7 at your December 14th meeting. And that is all I have.
Okay, can you go back to slide number 7 for a moment?
Sure.
And I know that you have told me the answer to this question before, but why is the CPI based on San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose area?
I do have my experts on the line. I might let one of them take that of why.
They're not a
why we have chosen.
Sacramento area to base that on?
Good evening, Stephanie Parson with NBS. I am the special tax consultant for these community facilities districts. And yes, that is correct that we don't have a Sacramento area region. We rely on the larger metropolitan San Francisco area CPI.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Is that, I don't want to dig into this too deep unnecessarily, but is there literally no calculation of the CPI outside of that 3-city region in California, in Northern California?
There is not a common CPI. This is, it's a reliable CPI. Also, it's based on historical consumer price indexes that we've used for older CFDs. CFD 12, CFD 13 that were established in the early 2000s also rely on this similar CPI metric, so it's consistent with with all CFDs.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much.
I think I've asked this question before, and it had to do with the CPI for a construction industry that's normally taken from Engineering News Record, and I think it's the same answer.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. Any other questions from the council?
Just more of an information, because quite a few times I get a phone call when they open up the property tax bill, and YK, it's going up. So it's a common public thing, right? You know, it's very hard for them to understand all this. Whom should we direct the residents to gain more knowledge about that?
They are able to call NBS for information about their tax bill, and they're able to provide.
Maybe probably I can get that one and I can distribute whenever, because they won't remember when they are signing their house, when they are getting the keys and all those, when they see I mean, that's all in all fairness, right? When they see the property tax bill, then they realize how much it went up, and their friend on the north side is, I'm not paying that much. I mean, that's all the, conversations, right? But thank you. I'll get that, and even though I said you have a state-of-the-art school and the park is great, still they are not digesting. Thank you.
Okay. Rosario,
I'm good.
anything? Carrie, any other?
No, do we have to open a public hearing for this?
I mean, 2079 to 2080, is that the most depressing thing? I mean, we will all, everybody in this room will be dead.
Speak for yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm going for 115 myself, so I'm going to make it to 2083.
Oh, I'm so
All right.
depressed now.
All right. So just a standard motion
There's
on each
something to
of
be
these?
said for staying in your current home.
Yeah, no kidding. Exactly.
That's why, Mr. Mayor, this is not a public hearing item.
Okay, great. Well, I will entertain a motion on each of these
I will
resolutions.
move 10747.
I will second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on resolution 10747.
Councilmembers Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem Chella?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Kozlowski?
Yes.
I will move resolution 10748.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on resolution 10748 and a second.
Councilmember Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem Chella?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Kozlowski?
Yes.
I'll move.
Move resolution 10749.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on resolution 10749.
Councilmembers Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem Chella?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Kozlowski?
Yes. Okay, let's call the next item.
All right, that takes us to item 14, resolution number 10744, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a fiber networks installation agreement with Sci-Fi Networks Folsom LLC for the installation of a fiber optic network in the city of Folsom.
Good evening, Mayor Kozlowski. I'm Mark Rackovan, your Public Works Director. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce Mr. Scott Bradshaw of Sci-Fi Networks, who will be giving a brief presentation about the fiber network installation that his company wishes to install in the city of Folsom. It's the subject of the agreement before you this evening. Sci-Fi has entered into similar agreements with several communities around the United States and overseas, including 8 in California. In our region, Rancho Cordova and Yuba City are already under agreement with Sci-Fi. And they have actually actively begun construction in the first 2 communities that they entered into agreements in California, and that would be Fullerton and Placentia. Mr. Bradshaw, Mr. Wong, and myself will be available after the presentation to respond to any questions that the council or the public may have about the agreement or the program. And we also have Ephraim Richardson from our Information Systems Department on the phone, should there be any more technical questions in his area of expertise. And as the city clerk mentioned, we did provide some additional information on this item for you this evening. And with that, I'll turn the presentation over to Mr. Bradshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Rackovan.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi there.
Mayor, council members. Sorry, I was wondering what, there was a formatting issue there. I was hoping that wasn't me. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that what I'm going to say significantly resonates with the community of Folsom, respect to what we're doing in California, what we're doing across the rest of the country. So just give you an idea what Folsom Fiber City is. So Sci-Fi Networks, we're an infrastructure developer. We're not an ISP, we don't sell content, we don't provide content. Several years ago, the co-founders and a number of individuals in the company, including myself, had a vision to create open access infrastructure. Open access infrastructure really is where you put the infrastructure in the ground and you open it up to everybody to drive competition, to drive economic development. And that's what we're really doing now across the country, which we'll come on to in a second. But ultimately, it's a 100% private investment. There is zero taxpayer dollars for this. So typically, someone would be here and trying to sell the solution. That's not what this is about. This is a really case of, do you want this for your community or not? Which I say I'm hoping you are. So the goal of the Fiber City is to remove the digital divide, drive economic development, remove the digital divide, really change the economic climate of a community through fiber optic infrastructure. What is a Fiber City? The Fiber City is Sci-Fi Networks' brand, which we're deploying across right now 17 different cities across 8 different states. We're doing things very, very differently. We're not just creating fiber to the home, fiber to the business. We're actually building a smart city infrastructure. That means building it up from ground up, just like really how this community has been built over the many years and how you're developing south of the 50, is that we are designing it in a way that is so over-engineered that for the generations to come are going to be able to utilize this with the applications that don't really even exist today. So straight off the bat, across the country, people, communities, they're chasing gigabit service, the 1 gigabit to the home, to change the monopoly infrastructure. Sci-Fi as standard, these infrastructures to everyone's home is 10 gigabit symmetrical. That means 10 gigabit coming down in your broadband connectivity, 10 gigabit going on the upload speed at the same time. Because it's open access, and I do apologize for the formatting, I'm not sure why it's that, but please do bear with me for this. Because it's open access, any type of infrastructure provider or any type of service provider can provide any type of service throughout the entire community. So that could be broadband, telemedicine, home security, devices and things we've not even thought about today. That's really the whole purpose of having an open access and removing the monopoly stranglehold that really resides in the US and certainly in this community. By simple example, you have AT&T and you have Comcast. They provide you the service, they own the infrastructure, they determine the quality, and they determine the prices that they are billing you for those said services. Under an open access infrastructure, the purpose being, we want everybody to compete over a level playing field that they do not control, they do not own. We want a neutral operator to determine, really, to keep this infrastructure at the leading edge and have the service providers refocus their attention on great customer service and the lowest price possible for the premium service in the industry today.
Do they have the option to connect versus not connect?
Correct. So I'm gonna just jump in regards to that question. So what Sci-Fi does, before we ever put a spade in the ground, there's 2 critical things, actually 3 critical things. 1, we guarantee the entire city. Doesn't matter where you live, what you earn, what you drive, you should have the right and be afforded to receive fiber connectivity. So that's one thing Sci-Fi guarantees under the model. The second is 100% of the project funds is pre-allocated to the project. We don't build just in time. So we build a neighborhood, and if that goes successful, we then build the next neighborhood. For the city council's comfort level, we actually pre-allocate the entire funds for the project. And 3, any service provider can come onto the network. So the people of the community do not have to take the fiber connectivity. The purpose of me being here today is hopefully to seek your approval for being in the public right away. That merely is it. When someone chooses to receive fiber connectivity, that's actually through a private easement with that property owner. So the likes of Comcast, AT&T, they can come onto this network. They can utilize it to provide these leading edge services. But what Sci-Fi will be doing day one is bringing brand new service providers into the city to immediately compete against.
Okay, so basically this is not something that Comcast or AT&T is necessarily going to connect to, but it will mean other service providers will come in.
That is correct, 100% correct. And that's what we're doing right now. So if you look in California, before the spade went in the ground, communities where it was Charter Spectrum, AT&T, we brought people in to compete immediately against them. So they can come on, they don't have
Oh,
to
that might
come on.
explain why I got a phone call at my business today from Spectrum. Okay.
Yeah, there's a reason why, you know, they don't want open access, because it drives down the price but increases the service. So it's good for the people, not necessary for the service provider. You know, sadly.
Mr. Bradshaw, you said Comcast and AT&T can use this network in case
That's
they
correct.
want. I know you have installed 17 cities across the United States. Have they ever used any of your network?
I just want to be factually correct, because I do not want you to be misled. Right now, Sci-Fi has 4 active projects. We have 17 cities that we've partnered in since 2019. We have projects across 17 cities which are going to be built out to about 750,000 premises. And that's going to cover about 50 million linear feet of construction. That's just this year alone. Out of those 17, since we started deployment towards the tail end of 2019, 4 are in active construction. 2 of them are in Southern California, in Orange County, and 1 of them is commencing in 2 weeks' time in Ventura. In regards to your question, they can come onto any of those networks across the 8 different states. I just do not want you to be misled that you think I'm building 17 and then question that later.
Got it. Thank you.
But good question. As I mentioned, it's 100% multi-million-dollar investment. Taxpayers are not paying for this. We are going to pick up the check to build it, to operate it, to maintain it, to upgrade it. I'm literally just removing the capital requirement from the service providers to do what they should already be doing, and that is upgrading their existing infrastructure to bring this to the people.
So how do you guys make money?
I'm just going to jump straight in, because we're going to get disconnected in the
Okay.
presentation anyway. But no, that's a great question. I'm a multi-lane toll road. I am backed by one of the largest pension funds in the world, organization called APG. They manage about $500 billion US. Their goal is to be putting capital in the ground for the longest period of time. So people like everybody potentially in this room, with their 401ks and things, when we're investing as we're going through our working years, we hope when we come to retirement that the money we've put away each month is going to satisfy us so we can retire comfortably. That's all the pension fund is doing, putting money in the ground, amortizing for the longest period of time to give their clients, 401k people and other pension fund people, a return on that investment. So what I do is put the infrastructure in the ground, become a multi-lane highway, and charge a toll fee to the private industry to come onto my network and provide retail services to the businesses and to the residents.
So you're basically, your subsequent contracts would be with Comcast or AT&T or Spectrum or whoever?
100%, yeah.
Okay.
And that's why this works, why we don't want to be using taxpayer dollars when I have a model that I can leverage against the private industry and make them pay for coming on the system. But by removing the capital, the key thing for them now is they don't need to focus on how they return that capital spent to their shareholders, when they can now focus on customer service, price, and product instead.
This is not unlike how cell phone service is provided. The owners of the poles that have the communication devices on them lease out space to cell phone
Exactly how they
providers.
do it.
Yeah. So.
And if you
So,
look,
so did
oh,
those,
sorry.
so did those other service providers currently in Folsom, it's Comcast and AT&T, do they have to make a physical hard connection to the fiber, or?
It depends on the model, what they're doing. You know, if you were to say 2 cell phones, by simple example, you know, we could be in this room now and I call you via
Yeah.
my cell phone. Phones are not really calling them. My phone's going to the nearest tower, then goes underground to the next tower, comes back out and it calls you. You know, the irony of that. So there has to be a physical connection, but it depends on the type of technology you're using as we move into the 5G world and the small cell world and, you know, all those realms. The one thing that needs in the high abundance is capacity. And that's where the fiber optic comes in.
Okay, I'm just questioning because I currently have the worst internet service at my business that you can even imagine.
So we're going to come on to that in a second, and I'm hoping that the slide you're about to see is going to be a blessing for you
Okay.
if that's the case. As I mentioned, it is zero taxpayer dollars. Let me just focus on, given that we're going to be slightly disconnected here, I could turn up with a permit, submit the permit and start constructing. But as I'm sure you can all be aware, that is completely on my agenda. I'm focused on me, I'm focused on my investment. The reason we do this approach, which is a partnership or right-of-way agreement, is I want all your ideas. What is your community engagement? What is the growth? You know, if you look at the growth of the south of the 50, that 3,500 lock area at the moment that's being significantly developed, I want to build for the future. I want to build for the generations to come. So rather than submit a permit, let's do it right first time. Give me all your ideas. Sci-Fi will take the risk. We will incorporate them into our network design because I'm not selling content. It's a neutral network. All these great internet service of applications that are coming and exist today will be ready for you. And that's why we have this different approach. Rather than pulling a permit, we take more of a partnership view. Job creation, not only do we bring expertise into the community, but we're heavily focused on local job creation. So we'll be looking to work with city staff, the Chambers of Commerce, in regards to identifying mechanisms to employ locally, train those people, but then we go beyond that. So once the infrastructure is built, for as many years that you will allow me to be in the ground, we will actually have a permanent 24/7 local field team that's within the city because they know everybody in the city, and we are paying for those people for every year that they're here. So it's immediate job creation, and it's many, many years of ongoing.
Okay, and can you tell me what you consider to be micro-trenching?
I'm sorry.
What do you consider to be micro-trenching?
I have a few slides in. Can I come back to that question?
Okay.
Because I actually have visuals which will answer that
Okay.
one for you. Let's go skip straight past that. Okay. So this is where we are right now. We are looking to propose about, just shy of a change of 400-mile fiber optic network throughout the entire city. Minimum, we're looking at well over 32,000 premises. We're going to be, this is what's called passing the premise. I can't force a person or a business to take fiber, but I can certainly literally take it past the front yard, ready for them to receive fiber connectivity. This is shocking for us. Of greater community you are and the growth that you're experiencing based upon the public domain available data, only 10% of the homes in the community have fiber passing their home. That was incredible. But what's more interesting, given that how commercially orientated you are, only 19% of the businesses here have fiber passing them. That's one of the lowest I've seen in California. That was quite something. So when we should not ask the question, so I'm going to jump ahead. When you think about why Folsom, you have great demographics, you have good density, and you have poor connectivity. You just generally have poor connectivity. So I know I'm able to create an environment where I can bring in multiple service providers to compete against people that are not doing the job well for the constituents. The network is designed, which is why we put the actual image at the bottom. The network is designed for future growth. So we really want to work with city staff, hopefully from a positive position here this evening, and understand the future of, I say, that 3,500 acre area and how we design that for you. Actually, and then before I go any further, let me just explain why this is critical. So we use what's called microduct. That means this size duct, actually to the question of Councilman Howell's question in regards to microtrenching, our trench width is 1.5 inches wide. That's literally the size of this. So, it's from your knuckle to your thumb. That's the size of the trench that's going in the ground. It's super, super small. We don't use...
It says 2 inches on the detail.
Up to, depending upon where we're going to go on the street, but our typical is 1/4 to 1.5 inch wide, but correct, 2 inches is maximum. We don't use fixed fiber cable because if someone comes along and cuts that cable, we then have to dig a bigger hole, we have to splice, which would be what's called joining all the fiber together, and that just creates a headache for public and engineering. So what we use is empty duct, we put it in the ground, we go to the nearest location. This one small thing here that you can see at a distance actually has 12 fiber strands. Each of these fiber strands is, to put it in visuals, about the size of a human hair.
What's the gauge on the outside of that?
I couldn't tell you the top of my head on that one.
22 or so?
So this one is about 3/6, about 6.
No, I'm talking about the individual ones.
Oh, yes, incorrect. I thought you meant about the OD of this one. So this would be a 6 millimeter, and this one is a 16, so like 3/4 inch on that. So we actually fill the actual duct with air, and then we blow these fibers all the way through. So to the premise, this is the size that's going to the premise, the businesses, and actually the homes as well. It's incredibly small. Things have moved on significantly. But to the point where I was leading to with the community development is we actually coil these empty ducts. So as you begin to grow out this area here, the south of the 50, we'll be coiling all of this empty duct for your developers as they build in those areas. So when an area is built and is ready to be served, we come along, we just cut the duct, push it back together, just like bathroom plumbing with a push-fit coupler, and we just blow the fiber straight through. That entire area very quickly will be fiber ready and ready for the future of growth.
So are you planning to do south of the freeway first, or what's going to happen first?
Doesn't work that way. If it could, it would, but it doesn't. So what we will do, so we're just going to, I do not want to get into the weeds, so I'm going to keep it as high.
We're excellent at weeds and asynchronous conversations, so
okay.
don't get too put
so
off.
If you want to go deeper, fine. But I'm going to keep it as high level as I can, just for the.
No, I actually want to keep the
relevant
construction relatively shallow. I just want to know where you're going to put it first.
Yes, but I'm about to go where I'm about.
Sorry,
to
that was a geek joke.
Hey, that's okay. So what we have on the outside of the city is 2 actual aggregation locations. What that means is we don't build it old school. The old school would be you have a central location and everything spans out from there. In our eyes, that's a multi-point of infrastructure failure. What we do is actually have what we call a fully meshed network. That means all the equipment that sits throughout the city is all talking to each other at multiple locations and is all multi-diverse in its routes. So we take all the equipment, all the fiber in the city to multiple outside points. So where I'm going to full circle in answer to your question is, once we know where to pick up the connectivity that connects us to the World Wide Web on the outside of the city, that would be the initial demarcation point, which enables us to determine where we start constructing, because you can put fiber in the ground all day long, but if you cannot light it for service, no one can receive connectivity. So it comes down to strategic planning and growth, and it also comes down to where can we light the fiber. So the way we get around that also is that we guarantee a time limit. How quick we'll be in the ground and how quick we'll build out the entire city. Just covered that one. Removing the digital divide. So as you can see from the screen, we cut on both sides. We don't cut across until we have to. We keep that to a minimum. But we actually follow the curb and gutter, which we're going to come on to the construction now. But ultimately, no matter how great a community is, there is always an element of diversity and the digital divide and people not having as much money or disposable income as others. So the way we get around that is ensuring that day one, we guarantee we'll build on both sides of every road and we build past every single building, what exists today and also ready for future growth. This is what's going on in our California markets right now. So this is just one of the service providers actually using our infrastructure, Gigabit. Now they're actually a Washington State service provider, but they're on our California networks. Interesting than that, they're also on our Massachusetts networks serving the community there. This is currently the price.
Where in Massachusetts are you?
In Salem, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So, and for everybody else's knowledge, that's just to the west of Boston. So
They're providing internet to witches there.
$60 to the home, symmetrical gig. What's very interesting, though, is on the business side, especially in this community here, is that symmetrical gigabit to the business is $99. That is becoming a game changer for people where we're looking to attract businesses to the community to add to the tax base. Certainly, you know, hearing a few moments ago on the finances presentation that you had, by attracting businesses here would probably go a long way to supporting that current position you're in.
And that's probably less than half than what they were paying before.
And I think that's being generous, yeah. But that's standard. That's a standard rate. What Sci-Fi does from a philanthropy perspective is we personally finance through the service providers using the network a Fiber City A product. So what that means is we ask you What do the metrics need to be to support people that don't have so much money, are struggling, low-income school meal programs? You tell us rather than us telling you. We want to help from that manner. So right now in California, we're able to offer symmetrical. We don't reduce the speed just because the price is lower. Everybody should be still going at the same speed. So symmetrical gigabit to low-income people under the metrics that you will determine and help us for $30 a month. If you were to combine this product with the infrastructure bill that's just been passed and the allocation of funds that are already in there, you could actually take that $30 down to net zero. It is quite something. I don't think, to my knowledge, that product has ever been seen in the country before.
Does that explain why it's written in British?
I'm looking for it in case you're trying to pull my chain. So
No, it's just that's terminology that you would typically find in a British document.
Oh, okay, right.
You've called it an offering.
Yes. So obviously from my accent, I can see where the...
No, I thought that was only caused by your mask. I'm kidding.
Hey, okay. All right. We have a video from one of our active businesses. So just give you an idea what the businesses are saying on who's using the network.
My name is Andrew Bermudez. I am the co-founder and CEO of Digsy. We're a technology company in the commercial real estate space. Fiber connection for us is extremely important. It would be tremendous to be able to have that speed so that we can deliver a better experience for our customers and also keep our team working efficiently internally. So we're always on Zoom, we're always transferring files to the cloud and to other people across the world. We have a team of photographers that go out and shoot virtual tours for properties, update the information in real time. On top of that, that high bandwidth has so many applications, like being able to have a smart city, being able to push more data for people that we have. We can have better security, better support, and it makes it really attractive for a company like ours. Fiber is incredible for us.
I chose one. We have many. I just chose one business example. And I feel personally that's going to resonate significantly here from an infrastructure perspective and where you are located and the type of industry you have within the community. So this is just a visual. I say right now about 750,000 homes is currently in the pipeline, being funded from, I say, one of the largest pension funds in the world and Sci-Fi. So not only is that different, but we do things differently from a community engagement. So locally, we'll be appointing a community specialist. That individual or individuals are the middle person between the community, the construction people, the service providers, and the Sci-Fi. Wherever we are building, this individual is in the neighborhood, speaking on a daily basis throughout the entire week. How are we doing? How's the construction crews doing? How's the service? What can we be doing differently? These are lessons learned from our current projects, and we're just trying to evolve every time, and how can we do things better? We also, from a community engagement, are very different. We actually roll out, we pick up the check, and every week in California, we're doing free tacos. The purpose of this is, in the neighborhood, the people get to meet the service providers. They get to meet the construction crews. They get to see the machinery. They get to touch and feel what this is really all about. Because ultimately, I need this to be successful. I am taking the entire private risk to make this a success and sustainable. And given that there's no taxpayer subsidy, I really want the community to feel warm and welcome on this type of...
Well, tacos will definitely do that. Just saying.
So we are using...
And you're going to have competition on the taco market too, just saying.
Oh, okay. It's all good feedback though. All feeds in. So we are using micro-trenching technology. We do not do open trench. We don't use steel plates. We don't do lane closures unless there's a reason for that. California is significantly leading the way, especially with Governor Newsom passing the recent bill in regards to saying to the entire state, you must use micro-trenching, even though we were doing it beforehand. This machine runs about 30 feet per minute. A single crew is building about 2,500 feet per day. It's the noise of about a lawnmower, so it's just someone cutting their yard. And because of the depths, so we actually cut so to your point, 2 inches maximum, typically about 1.5 inch wide. California led the way saying you don't want to be going too deep. We are sick and tired of the utilities being hit, the gas, the electric. You want to be low enough that it doesn't hinder maintenance, but high enough that you don't impact on the utility. So we go to a 2-inch maximum, and we go down to a 12-inch depth. That was actually led by California. What became very interesting for Sci-Fi on the slide you saw a second ago is I have 7 other states that have all just followed California's lead. They recognize it works, whether it be Wisconsin, Illinois, Massachusetts, New York, they've all followed the California lead, which has just been great. So we have a lot of common. This is how small it is. Co-management, we don't need to do lane closures. We don't need to stop people coming on and off their drive. The hole is so small that we don't need to be disruptive to the community. Wealth of knowledge is a thing. When every foot that we construct, we'll actually be ground penetrating radaring every foot. We'll be looking for what is the depth of utility you have already. So you'll notify us what you think you have, and then we'll go and see what you actually have. We pick up that data, we digitize it for the entire city, and then we're just going to hand that over to you. That's yours. That is a wealth of knowledge in itself, and we're just going to hand that over to you for your own systems. Also, we take before, during, and after pictures, every 10 to 20 feet. The reason being, we want you to know where our infrastructure is. The more you know about it, the less chance of it being damaged. We actually hand that information over to you as well. So very quickly, you have an asset register of your entire city that if someone calls you and say, I'm not happy with some construction work, you can literally just type it in without leaving the office. You'll get to see what the road looked like beforehand and what it finished and what the complaint may be. Because construction is construction and nothing ever goes perfectly well. So we're going to have those, and it's just a case of managing them accordingly.
So there's also a tracer on this so that USA can identify it as well?
Correct. So we have they register with the dig safes, so that's the appropriate path. This is actually the finish right now. So we actually do an overbanding. So when we cut the trench, the seal just goes slightly over to stop water ingress coming through. It's finished with an aggregate that mimics the existing roadway, so we satisfy the OSHA in regards to slips and trips and things like this. But that's how it looks. That's Placentia today, a few weeks ago.
Do we know, how long has that, the pavement repair product been around?
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to say year. I don't know the exact, but it's years. This is actually, there's no rocket science. It's a used, tried and tested from the state highways is where it used all the way down to the municipal level. So it's not something we have developed.
Okay. Mark, is it something we're familiar with, Mark? That patch product?
I'm not really sure if it is or not. I'm not sure what the name of the product is.
This is Craftco. So that's probably the most ready used sealant in the entire country. And then we also have another one, which is called Sterling Lloyd. So either or.
If you get that information to Mark, and then you can just give me
I'll check with our street crew and see what they've been using and if they're familiar with this product.
Okay.
I can provide the cut sheets for that as well.
Thanks.
I don't think you have them. So this is California communities. This is what we're experiencing on a weekly basis. We just want to be the best neighbor we can. We want this to be a good marriage. So the best way is to see what the community think about the construction crews, ultimately. And these are recent images where we actually have the people, the community, so happy with the way the construction is going, not being too interfering with them too much. They're actually baking cookies. It's a bit quirky, but I think, you know what? It's a demonstration if you're either doing your job right or not. And when the community is doing this for you, spending their time to show appreciation in this way, I think there's a lot to be said about that. So that's for the people. That's competition, multiple competition, higher speed, citywide. The municipality is a whole world of its own. Now, because I actually have a citywide infrastructure, it's one of the most diverse and over-engineered fiber optic networks in the entire country, because I'm building for many years to come. We do things a bit different. What we say is, where do you want fiber during the design? And we will take fiber to every single municipal public location, and we'll let you go as fast as you want. Put your own electronics on the fiber and just go as fast as you want. You control the speed, You control your own quality of service. Don't let us tell you how to do it. You manage that yourself. We can either create a citywide footprint for you, or we can integrate our fiber into your existing system so your IT team sees our fiber like it's yours and manages it in the same way in a secure manner.
One other question, what's the diesel generator for? Is it connected otherwise to grid power, and that's only in the event of an emergency, or?
Diesel power being for the shelter?
Yes.
Okay, because I was wondering where you're going. So the diesel, so going all the way back to the beginning when I showed you the map and I said about the aggregation points, which connects us to the World Wide Web, we have a building. The building is a prefab, turns up on site, ready built. It's about 300 square feet. It has a variety of backups, but one of them, to your point, is a diesel generator. Should we lose power, it allows us sufficient time. Yeah?
I just wanted to make sure it was just a
because
backup.
everybody else wouldn't have known where you're coming from, so I just wanted to let everybody know that. Every municipal location, every public facility, this is where we are very different. The conversations we're having right now is connectivity, like one in LA County we're working with, taking a direct connection from the school, from a children's home or child's home, straight into the school using the school credentials, not going via the internet. Direct connectivity, should we have a situation that we're still currently in regards to pandemic, that we have high definition, high capacity available. Same with city staff workers, where there's city staff, we can actually have a direct connection coming all the way into City Hall. These are the things we're going to be asking you to think about as we go through the design. And this is why we say we're building a smart city network that's going to go everywhere, and the fiber to the home and fiber to the business is just a natural ancillary benefit on top of that, rather than the other way around. But it is more than just a broadband. The key thing is we want your ideas. We genuinely want your ideas. How do you think you could really benefit from this, from a public outreach, from intelligent data to the municipal's own use? We want to get that fiber designed in the right way for you. You've already taken the lead compared to a number of cities I'm already working with in regards to public safety. This is actually an image from one of your cameras. Actually, this is a video on the public domain. And this is a big topic of conversation I'm experiencing across the country, where people are looking to manage people speeding. And how they're doing that is through traffic management control, traffic light control. Because Sci-Fi can take the fiber to any of these cameras, any location, bringing it all the way back into the municipal SCADA system or the command center, you actually will be having instant real-time information rather than under a more of a disparate structure. It's quite incredible how progressive the community is in regards to technology and where you're building. What we're also seeing is where communities are doing EV chargers, putting touchable kiosks. Those are the communities where businesses are looking to move to, because they realize that the leadership of the community, as in the council, are forward thinking. And this is where we're going to complement it by doing the connectivity. And we actually have one of the other cities we're working with is intelligent parking. I've experienced this myself when I've been down in the community to Fat Rabbit and other places, which is a great place to go, by the way, gotta say. And I'm actually going to try and find the British pub this evening if I can.
Churchill Arms is on
Yes,
East Bidwell.
that's what I was told earlier today. So this is at your fingertips. So before you go downtown, the ability that you can have sensoring all coming in and available to the community, that you can see the potential availability of parking spots. So do I go downtown? No, because it's full, or there's a good capacity open. I'll venture down. It's just the use of intelligent
Did you park in the parking structure when you were there?
I parked on the historical side where the rail line is.
On the street?
No, it was in the parking lot.
Okay.
I actually have an image of it, but I chose not to use
You
it.
get 5 extra points for that.
Oh.
Somebody's using the parking structure.
Oh, no, it was ready available. You just got to put in the effort to find it. That's all it is. But if I had this here, that would have been different. So this is really where we are. Every single street lit up fiber. Citywide, it's reliable, it's diverse, it's significantly over-engineered, ready for new generations that don't even exist right now. It is used to drive economic development, bring businesses. We will be doing job creation. It is true open access, not just the fiber, all the way to the electronics. So the ISPs, the service providers, don't control the electronics, which means they can't stranglehold or throttle the data actually coming to your home. We have a dig once policy. This is what we actually promote. As 5G continues to pick up momentum. What we're seeing really across the country, permits are coming in at quite a rate to the engineering teams, all looking to build the same segment of road. Because we're a neutral provider and we're not actually competing with the carriers and the service providers, it makes more sense for them to jump on our network rather than digging up the same road twice. And we're going to close the digital divide. We're going to take it to everybody. So that's really me. That's where we are. We'd like to pick up the entire check. We'd like to pay for it. We don't use taxpayer dollars. We will take the risk. We'll put 100% of the funds pre-committed before we put a spade in the ground. We'll bring brand new service provider to the community to drive economic development, to drive down the prices and drive up the speeds. And day one, to the homes, as standard, gigabit through 10 gigabit services. And the municipality can use all this for smart city infrastructure. I welcome your thoughts. Hopefully that's not too compelling, but we'll see.
You have told a very compelling story. I do have a couple of questions, though. So the aggregation shelter, is that sort of set up what you're talking about in terms of making an outbound connection to the world?
That's
from
correct.
the city?
Data centers from the outside of the city come
Right.
to a point which will determine through the permitting process, connects to there, and then from there, it disperses throughout the city.
Okay, so for the area that we call Folsom, what's your best guess at how many of those points will be necessary? Two.
Just
okay, gotcha. And I don't know that it. I think you kind of breezed over it a little bit, but one of the things that was really intriguing to me as we talked once before is the sort of redundancy that occurs because of the crisscrossing of the streets here and there, so that if you do get a break in a line, data can flow the other direction down the street if necessary.
That's the critical thing for your business, and that, in fact, that's huge for your business district. That when we talk about fully mesh, it really means that everything is connected. So even if someone is given a permit and they just choose to ignore the permit and they cut through our fiber optic line, the information just reroutes automatically in the opposite direction, so the network always stays up.
So it works more like our water system, where
Just
we
like
can
water
shut
system.
a pipe off and water
That's
still
critical
flows
for
in
the
other directions.
municipality.
Yeah, very good. And then my other question, I guess, is, so if you have these, entry points to the city where you're grabbing onto the rest of the world, what's stopping whoever owns that pipe going out from throttling connectivity?
That's actually a very good question. I don't think you've ever had that one. We have long-term structures in place where we're not actually where we're not subject to that type of environment.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay. Other questions? YK?
Oh, I just have a comment.
It's a lot to absorb.
Thank you.
There's a lot,
It's a great thing, and I know at the end you answered my question. You are going to bring the new service providers to make things better from the 10% and 19%.
Correct.
Right now, this town stuck with the existing providers with the 10% and 19%. Only that much percentage is having the fiber access, gigabit, up and down.
And
Whatever.
people, the community don't need to change. So
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in competition, which is just going to be great in general.
Right.
But to your point, if you just didn't like the service providers coming on the network, whether it be one or many of them, you can just stay with your existing incumbents. Right. That really, so that's where this is great, because just for the whole city, it's just a win-win. It's brand new competition that they're not paying for, that the private industry is burning over a very long period of time.
Right. And when we put that picture there for Folsom, you are only showing right now Folsom South, 2,500 or 30,000 homes. That's what your focus is right now.
On the previous picture where I had the box showing
Yeah,
South of
yeah.
Route 50.
That's right.
Oh, that was just an example that you're already in development there. I
Okay.
think maybe 10 different developers or something to that effect. If I may, I'll just go back because it'd be unfair to
Yeah.
articulate it in the wrong way.
Because I would think at this point that
Yeah.
if I were you, I would probably start where you got an existing customer base. Because that's going to bring the competition in and drive pricing down.
It will, but it's different. If I had to have a return on my capital spent, like the incumbents have to in a very short
Right,
period of
the
time.
lower construction cost would be to do it south of 50, but there's a much smaller customer base than if you deal with the slightly higher construction cost in the existing portion of the city where there's already 75,000 customers,
Yes, but
or 25.
And that's a really good way of looking, and it's the correct way of looking at it on the short term. But because my amortization typically is 30 years long, two things happen. One, I can spend more money to over-engineer the project in the right way rather than put a Band-Aid on the current situation. And two, I don't actually need a quick take rate. So what happens is, just to give everybody knowledge, pension funds are very risk averse. You know, they take the information and then they dilute it and they dilute it again because it has to be sustainable. So they look at the industry average of when fiber passes a premise, what is the typical take rate? The pension fund comes along and say, I don't trust that data, let's slash it in half. Because then they know they can achieve that particular number. And then they'll say, okay, now we've got this figure, let's just freeze a fictitious number, say a quarter of the community. Then they'll say, okay, now how far can I push achieving a quarter of the community out? Do I need to achieve that in 1 year or can I do that in 5 years? So this is, because the way you say that is absolutely correct, but when you look at it from a longer term investment, we have so much more flexibility and how we can actually build within smaller community areas and more the affluent areas at the same time. Just different.
Ultimately, what you said earlier, though, was that it's a singular project to get this all built in one go.
Yeah, we don't do piecemeal.
Yeah.
We're going to build this in the right way first time. It's just how we build it is going to be with your direction as well as the availability. But to the gentleman's question in regards to the square, what I'm really articulating there is we've already designed the city. That image is to show you the saturation of fiber that's about to go in the ground. The square is to show you we're not leaving that behind. Just because it's not built doesn't mean it shouldn't be given fiber connectivity.
Got it.
So the square is to show you we're ready to go. We're going to work with city staff, we're going to gain your direction, and then we're going to design that in how it needs to be for the development.
And the only other thing to keep in mind with regard to how quickly you bring or customers are going to come online, it's a total of almost 3,600 acres. The eventual population is about, it's 11,000 housing units, so 22,000 people.
Yeah.
So it's less than, it's maybe 25%, but it really will take 20 years to build out.
And that's fine. That's the scenario we actually have with Rancho Cordova, not too far from here, but they're actually looking to double in size. And I think it's the next 30 years, 35 years, I think, give or take. So this is where it's critical for us. Because it's not about just right now, it generally is for the generations. So I need all your designs, your ideas, let's just build it right first time.
Okay.
Very good. Rosario, do you have?
Thank you. This is a lot of good information. What do you expect the lifetime of the underground fibers to be?
So for us right now, we're looking at least 60 to 90 years long. That's, if you look at fiber, it's been in the ground since the 70s, and it's still going strong now to the point, actually, they still don't have electronics in the industry that's been developed in the world that can actually max out a single strand of fiber.
Thank you. I'm good.
Okay. Gary, any other thoughts? Sarah?
What happens with private streets, like behind a gated community, or I'm not sure if our mobile home parks are private streets? What happens in those instances?
Everybody day one is acquainted for, or is accounted for, should I say, rather than acquainted. We treat HOAs, the mobile parks, as though they are just residences that we believe will take fiber connectivity. That's the risk we take. So we actually have dedicated teams that focus specifically on the HOAs, the mobile parks, and other unincorporated roads, so we can take the fiber to them, depending upon who owns and controls that jurisdiction.
Okay. And when you talk about the cabinets, I think 30-some cabinets spread out throughout the city, are those on public or private property? I'm envisioning in front of my house, unfortunately, I have got a green SMUD box, which is our electric provider.
Yeah.
Is that something that's going to be in someone's front yard?
So this is where we're going to take your direction, not because if I do that, I'm going to alienate, to your point, we'd alienate you and you're not going to want service. So our goal is that when we go through the design process, we'll submit the designs to engineering, and we will say, does this work? Straight off the bat, they're not going to be sat outside your window bay because it's just going to be unsightly. It's to be at the side of the lot. It's to maybe have the shrubbery around it. It's an out of sight, out of mind. We have the flexibility to actually significantly move those cabinets from where we propose. So it's going to be up for the engineering teams to say, that doesn't work for us, this works for us, this is more manageable, and then that's the lead we'll take.
And there could be many locations in town where people don't have a problem with it. I don't have the SMUD box, but I have the Comcast box at my house.
We actually had this discussion with Sci-Fi a couple weeks ago about the locations of these cabinets, and given that there's only 35 of them for the entire city, we have a great deal of flexibility about where they can be placed. And one of the thoughts we had is, when we go near our traffic signals, that's usually where you see a cluster of cabinets, the signal controller, irrigation controllers, other utilities. We could conceivably just add another cabinet to the row there.
And nobody would notice it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But we'll take your direction. That's this has to be the right marriage. It has to be the best, and it has to be the best partnership. So the more feedback collectively you can give us, both how it looks today and what it's going to look like for the future, just the better network we're going to build in the community for the people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you talked about you're working with 17 cities, 4 projects going right now. How many installations have you completed?
So we started the projects tail end of 2019 to the beginning of 2020. Fullerton is already half built. That's a community of about 54,000 premises, about 140,000 people. I say that's already half built. Placentia, the adjoining city, started in July. I think already they're about 150,000 feet that they're flying, and we breaking ground. So none, in answer to your question, by the way, I'm being very verbose in that. But I do want to give you how quick we are moving. In Sci-Fi, to be very clear, Sci-Fi does not build these networks. There's no point in recreating the wheel. You have very, very good construction companies in the country today. It makes more sense for us to take the private risk with the investment and the management and sustainability, but create local jobs with contracting companies that are already building these types of infrastructures. So we actually give out the work to the local people and also bringing the expertise to help.
Okay. And so the agreement that's in our packet talks about from the day the agreement is signed, you are predicting 2 years before construction would start within 2 years, correct? 24 months.
Yes, is the outside. We put the 24 months because we don't know what we don't know. We have to engineer the city. Our ideal right now is to be first customer live in about 12 months' time from this point going forward. But it's just we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what's in the ground. We don't know if the information you have, the utilities you have, are accurately installed historically. So we just need to mitigate the process. So yes,
Okay.
we say typically 2 years. We will have done enough to create a comfort factor that we will be underway construction.
And then the 48 months that's in that agreement, is that 48 months it will be completed from the effective date or 48 months after construction starts?
The latter, from point of construction. And we do that is, I generally don't know what engineering is going to allow me to do. If they say we're going to give you one team, that one team has to build the entire city in 48 months. If the engineering team say we'll allow 6 teams, I could probably do that in 18 to 24 months. So we have to take the air of caution in regards to the engineering team you have today. Hopefully will be around for many years. But if they were to move on and it's a brand new engineering team, we don't know what their consideration and thoughts will be. So we're just adding to the timelines on an air of caution.
So in Rancho Cordova, their council approved the agreement with you June of last year. Where are you in terms of, have you started installing there?
So the install starts in January. That's actually should have started already, but this is actually a good example of the cabinets. Was we proposed a number of the cabinets locations, they didn't work out. We said, okay, no problem, let's go through it again. And we've gone through the cabinet iterations to find where works best for the community. And that's just delayed the construction, but that's delayed it in a positive way. So we would have liked to have already been in construction, but that's now being scheduled for the beginning of Q1.
Okay,
And Vice Mayor, if I could just say, I did speak with the city manager of Rancho Cordova, and he commented that everything has been moving very smoothly and is on track as, you know, they seek to place their cabinets and anticipate starting construction end of this year or first of next year, but said all in all, very smooth.
okay. And you said Fullerton is about half built out. That city council approved the agreement in April of 2014. What's taking so long?
Yeah, so, which is quite sad, really. Sci-Fi was kind of ahead of where the market was. So we had the vision, back actually it was in 2013, we had the vision of open access. We were using the European model. We just didn't realize the strength of, well, the institutional markets, the capital markets weren't there. They didn't see broadband as a asset class investment. You know, they hadn't caught up with that. And we didn't realize the strength the incumbents have in regards to influence in communities. So we had a variety of models, and we went through those variety of models to find one where some cities wanted to own the infrastructure, and other cities didn't want to own the infrastructure. And ultimately, I think it took us about 3 years going through bringing institutional investors up to why broadband fiber is a good thing, and it should be investable. So that took us about 3 years to get to that place. And we had to find the right contractors to build these in a very credible way. And we had to change the entire country's mindset that open access is a good thing. It is healthy to have competition. If we could have done that in 2015, that would have been awesome. But we just didn't. That was a feat within itself. But we stuck with it. We got it into the right shape. And now we have convinced the institutional market that broadband is an investable asset. We have found large-scale construction crews to build these on a large scale because Sci-Fi is going at such momentum now. And we have multiple service providers that have changed their business model from spending their own money and owning the infrastructure to now not owning the infrastructure and competing against multiple people. It just took time, the answer to the question. So we went through that evolution. We got everything into the right place. We put, I think it was $70 to $80 million dedicated for Fullerton. We ring-fenced that as an opportunity. We put it in the bank in 2019, and then we started construction at the latter part of that year. And now we're in full swing.
And what is the purpose of the one-year exclusivity clause in the agreement?
There's nothing really to read into it. It's no one else is knocking on your door. The incumbents are not investing. They're not building. I need time. If I could be building this tomorrow morning, I absolutely would. I need time to design the city. You know, we've got so far, as you can see on the screen, but what I now need to do is put boots on the ground. I need people to be walking every single street. I need them to be looking and finding information that might derail the project and how we need to get over those obstacles. I just need time to design the network. So by law, you can't actually stop people that already have franchise structures and on the CPUC and those governing utility structures to come into the city. All I'm actually asking for is, though it doesn't exist in regards to this offering, if someone like me knocks on your door in the first 12 months, just don't go out soliciting for something like a Sci-Fi Networks when we're in good faith with you that we're going to spend all this money with no taxpayer subsidy. So, you know, that's why I'm just be respectful.
It's just about the city being proactive in reaching out as opposed to receiving proposals from others.
Yeah, don't go out and solicit. Yeah.
We can still, you know, anyone who's interested can approach us and we will, you know, process accordingly. It's just us not putting out a proactive ask.
And question for city staff. So besides speaking to the city of Rancho Cordova, have we contacted any of the public works departments or anything from Fullerton and Placentia and Saratoga Springs, New York, and Salem, Massachusetts, and all those places?
I will have our Public Works Director speak to that because he has been making his way down a list.
Yeah, I've had conversations with Yuba City, Rancho Cordova, and Palmdale. I've had direct conversations with each of those organizations. They've all informed me of what their status is with Sci-Fi. Most of them are in that development stage and anxiously awaiting construction. I do have emails out to Fullerton, Placentia, Palmdale, or no, not Palmdale, Simi Valley, excuse me, and a couple of the other California communities to just check in on their status. And I haven't reached out to anybody on the other coast yet, but I'm certainly happy to do that.
Is Salem already under construction?
Salem, correct.
So emails out, but you haven't talked to anybody who's in the construction process right now, just the pre-construction?
No, I have not.
Okay, okay.
Then I would call Salem.
Okay, that's all my questions, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
All right.
Public comment, hold on a second, George.
Yeah, so any other questions from the council?
Mine is the last one, though. I know, thank you for doing this. I know it's your several times said it is not taxpayers' money. Since we are first few adopters in this state, for example, we have 482 cities, and we are the 9th one if everybody goes good. Are you giving any incentives to city to use your network for anything? I'm just asking.
Yes, yes. So we do things a bit differently because, again, it's an evolution of process. So the way we used to work was we had a right-of-way agreement, which is a grant of access. That merely is all this process really is. And then we have a managed service agreement for the municipality, should you wish to use the infrastructure. We actually have a mechanism, I don't think I've ever seen it in the US, where the municipality, the success of the model is not predicated on the municipality being a tenant on the infrastructure, i.e. using services. The success is me charging the private ISPs to come on. So because of that environment, I'm able to offer rates to the municipality for connectivity for municipal services so low, it's never been seen before. So in answer to your question, yes, but we do that separately because we used to do it at the same time, and then we realized we were just missing so many ideas that were for public benefit and municipal benefit that we decided to separate the two.
Thank you, Brad.
But yes.
Okay, very good. We're going to give you a break for a moment and gather some public comment, whatever it may be.
I'm going to sit right down.
So I'm going to open the public hearing. Yeah, have a seat. Did you want to comment, sir? Would you mind terribly coming up front and so we can hear you? Thank you.
I'm going to stand back up.
Who do I address, him or you, or all of everybody?
This small microphone right here on the podium is the one
My question is, I see the map, the last one you showed with all the blue lines running up and down the streets, the main line.
Do you want me to go back to that side?
How do you get to all the houses?
Great question. If I may.
Nobody's asked it, so I was just wondering.
No, I think you've addressed a really good question. So let me take the opportunity to answer that for you.
Right there, yeah.
So right, so you see this triangle?
Yep.
Yeah. So the line coming all the way down is what we call the running line.
Right.
Yeah, just passing everything. But the triangle is it's about this size. We take a small triangle and then we cut down and go underneath the curb. So we actually bring this small tube here.
Right.
Now, which we actually put that fiber optic cable in.
Okay.
This will go underneath the curb to the rear of the curb. So it could be the concrete, it could be grass or mud.
Right.
And then we just put this on the end. We sit it underneath the ground. And when the homeowner is ready for service, we come along, we take this all the way to the inside of the house, underground.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Very good. Come on. Excellent time to get your feet wet on the utility commission here.
One quick question. Does the homeowner have the ability to decide where that cable feed is? Meaning,
Certainly to a point. Our goal is just to take it to the inside of the premise, which we're then going to connect with the electronic unit. That has to be
I could just ask when anybody's speaking, if you could just speak to the microphone, just so we're picking it up for TV. Thank you so much.
Yes, that's the question. Typically, our goal would be to take it to the utility room, the utility closet, depending upon where it is in the home. And also whether it's being fed from the front or the rear of the yard will also depend on how we bring it into the premise at the same time.
so the homeowner does have little control, can consult with you on where they would like to have it run.
Yeah, it has to be that way.
Okay, all right, that's cool. Because we haven't had that in the past with the other vendors in Folsom, by the way.
Got it. Thank you very much. All right, anybody else like to ask a question or make a comment on this topic? All right, anybody online, on the telephone that would like to? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to bring it back to the council. Any final comments, or I'll entertain a motion?
I'll move the resolution.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion.
I would like to make a comment.
Sure.
I would actually prefer, unless there is some very time-sensitive reason this has to be done tonight, my preference would be to continue this until after the first of the year. I would like, I know Mr. Rakavan has talked to some cities. I would like to talk to cities who have, are in the process of having this installation done. I know that I wouldn't know a fiber optic cable if it hit me in the head. And, you showing us one tonight was the first thing. So I do not profess to be a technology expert in any means. But I think we need to do our due diligence, and we need to talk to some other jurisdictions that are in the process of the construction. I think there are other companies and public utilities who have approached the city of Folsom to do this same thing. So I'm not really clear on why this company and not another company. I don't know. I don't know what the process is for that. And then I really think with the technology experts we do have in our backyard, Intel, Micron, PowerSchool, I think it makes sense to just kind of slow down, maybe work with the Greater Folsom Partnership and take advantage of the expertise that we have in our backyard and make sure this is what's best for Folsom, that we're doing what those, the residents and the businesses will benefit from, and then revisit this after the first of the year. That would be my request.
So is that a motion?
There's already a motion on the
No, we have a motion on the table. That's commentary about the motion. So I will, unless there's other comments on the motion, I'll call
So just for clarity on the motion, so we can reject the motion on the recommendations of Council
Or we can
Member
substitute
Aquino?
it.
You can, okay, so in spite of having made the motion or seconding it, you can still vote yes or no on the motion, okay? Based on that comment or other thoughts you may have now. And you could, at this point, make a substitute motion also.
or withdraw. Yeah.
Or offer a substitute motion and see if the person who made the motion will accept it.
I will, given Sarah's commentary, I would be willing to move this to because we don't have a second meeting in November, I would move it to, am I correct?
We don't have a
meeting.
second meeting in November. We have a December meeting, December 14th. It does have already a couple of meaty items on it, I will say. That's okay, but.
All I'm going to suggest is that Mark contact some of the people that are already under construction and provide us an explanation as to Sarah's commentary about other people having come forward with this offering to the city of Folsom. I'm not aware of anybody that's done that. I know it was talked about many years ago, but I'm not aware of anybody coming to us. So I would appreciate you calling those other agencies. I'm not, frankly, all that interested in what the cities that haven't started anything yet are doing. I'm more concerned about getting feedback from the cities that are actually under construction and, getting a little bit of input. I would think it would take a couple of phone calls, Intel, and a couple of the other high-tech folks in town and the chamber.
Okay.
But I'd prefer to just make the decision at the December 14th meeting, and I think we can do it without a long presentation.
So a motion to table this until
Table
the
till-
first meeting in
yes.
December
And we
with
can
some homework
fit
for
it
Mark.
in on that agenda, yeah.
Because I don't think it's going to take a lot of discussion at that meeting, so I'm not trying to impact that.
Yep.
I think that's
agenda.
fair. Okay. Will
Okay,
you
so I'll second that.
second that?
Okay.
Okay, so the substitute motion's on the table to table this to the first meeting in December. We have a first and a
For
second.
the only meeting in December, because we don't have a second one in December.
Yeah, our December meeting.
December 14th.
Yes, please call the roll.
Council members Aquino,
Yes.
Chalem Chella,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Kozlowski.
Yes. All right. See you in a month and 5 days. Okay, please call the next item.
All right, your
Number
next
15.
item, number 15, is ordinance number 1318, an ordinance of the City of Folsom amending Section 10.20.510 of the Folsom Municipal Code to increase parking penalty in certain areas of the Historic District. This will be introduction and first reading of the ordinance.
Good evening again, Mayor Kozlowski, members of the council, Mark Rakovan, Public Works Director. Really should have asked to go on the agenda before that. I don't have much of a presentation for you. This is very straightforward.
It doesn't matter, they were both your items anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a very straightforward item. Ordinance 1318 addresses section 10.20.510 of the municipal code as it pertains to the amount of parking violations. Currently, it reads citywide, $25 per violation. As you're aware, we've been actively working on a parking management strategy in the historic district with through an ad hoc parking committee made up of residents and merchants. The parking management strategy relies very heavily on time limit parking and now a pilot permit program that we're about to undertake. And compliance with those parking regulations is absolutely paramount to the success of that parking management strategy. The last time the parking fines were updated was about 30 years ago, and certainly the value of a $25 fine is not the same today as it was back then. Our proposal is strictly within the bounds of the historic district to increase that fine to $75 to enhance the success of our parking management strategies in that district. These are the boundaries of the proposed increased fine. It's bounded by Coloma Street, Leidesdorf, Folsom Boulevard, and Natoma Street, and includes those streets as well. And with that, that's all I have for you this evening. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay,
My only comment, Mark, would be to make sure that the residents within that area know that that's being increased. Because I feel confident that some of those tickets, assuming we ever write any tickets, that some of those tickets are going to go to friends or relatives of homeowners.
Understood.
Any other questions for Mark from the council?
There was a resident emailed us with some questions, so I just want to make sure we're sensitive to these. So is there any reason to think that we should increase the parking citation fee citywide?
That was my initial recommendation. After consultation with the city attorney, we felt that due to the concentration of the needs for parking management in the historic district, we wanted to focus on that area. It certainly could be open to discussion to look at the rest of the city. Our focus was making the historic district strategy successful.
Okay. And then the staff report notes that many motorists seem to be willing to accept a $25 fine and either pay it or ignore it. And so the person is wondering, is there some sort of loophole that allows somebody to ignore a parking ticket, or?
Yeah, I don't think that that's really a loophole per se. I think it is part of the process that someone doesn't necessarily have to pay a parking citation. We've seen anecdotally pictures of people with tons of parking violations in their glove box until the law catches up to them, and then suddenly they have an issue.
And I think what happens typically is it ends up going on the driver's license of the owner of the vehicle. At some point, the DMV is going to get you.
Yeah, okay. I'm just looking through these real quick. And then who is going to enforce the parking in that area? Is it PD, or this person indicates that they think we're hiring an outside firm, and I hadn't heard that.
There's going to be a combination. Certainly the police department is always capable of responding to requests for parking enforcement. It's not a priority compared to a lot of their other activities. Code enforcement can also perform these types of parking citations. We have been looking for firms to manage either the pilot program or eventually to be a more permanent parking violation or citation asset for us, but so far that has not, we haven't completed that process.
Okay. And the CAPS volunteers can also issue parking citations, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I'm not in favor of bringing an outside firm to do this.
So we've been trying to, as Mr. Rackavan says, we're trying to cobble together a city team to cover those hours. I will say, our CAPS volunteers are amazing and excellent, but these are nighttime and early morning hours, and I don't think that that's a good expectation for those CAPS volunteers. But we are looking at some different models, trying to figure out how to cover it internally. But
I'm concerned that this will turn into that situation that we had at a certain condominium complex in Folsom with over-enthusiastic tow operators.
Just for clarification, I think what the city manager is referring to is the permit program, the pilot, which is limited to Friday and Saturday evening hours. And that's the area where we're really finding a challenge of who's awake at that time to perform parking enforcement. The CAPS do still throughout the day, on weekdays, they are available to perform parking enforcement of the time limit parkings in the historic district.
Very good, thank you. Any public comment? Is there? Okay, fantastic. All right, well, I will entertain a motion if there's no other commentary.
I'll move the item.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for ordinance number 1318.
Council members Aquino,
Yes.
Chalem Chella,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
and Kozlowski.
Yes, and this is a first reading, so we're going to see this again on our next agenda.
Yes, it'll be returned on
Very
December
good.
14th.
Okay, please call the next item.
All right, your next item is item 16. This is ordinance number 1319, an ordinance amending section 3.20.040 of the municipal code pertaining to responsible parties for municipal services. Again, this will be introduction and first reading of the ordinance.
Okay. Mayor, council members, Elizabeth Hanna, Revenue Services Supervisor. The topic of responsible parties for municipal services was first introduced as a scheduled presentation at the City Council meeting on October 12th. So I'm here this evening to review the background and analysis on the topic and recommend the first reading of ordinance number 1319, amending section 3.20.040 of the Folsom Municipal Code pertaining to responsible parties for municipal services. It's a mouthful. All right, so the City of Folsom provides water, sewer, and/or solid waste services to our residents. As a health and safety requirement, services are not terminated or interrupted in between occupants. With our current municipal or utility billing process, we allow both residential and commercial customers that are tenants to open utility accounts in their name. For residential properties, rental occupants can open an account if the real property owner has a current business license and a deposit is added to the new utility account. For commercial accounts, we allow a split bill amongst individual tenants for a flat rate service provided to one parcel, in addition to sending bills for metered water service to the property manager. In some instances, we will also split the bill for solid waste services to an additional third-party company. This results in splitting and generating more than 3 bills for one parcel receiving these utility services. So some more background is that we're the only agency in our region that allows for these utility services to transfer to a tenant and/or split utility services amongst tenants on one parcel. This is due to the fact that California Health and Safety Code 5473 allows for delinquent utility charges to be collected as a direct levy on the property tax roll. Folsom Municipal Code 3.20.040 also allows for these unpaid charges to be collected on the property tax roll, and the Revenue Division administers this annually. As our city has grown over the years, having utility accounts in the tenant's name has resulted in significant increase in staff time, processing and managing tenant accounts, and has also presented unique challenges for the city to collect delinquent payments. So our proposed ordinance amendment would identify that the owner of real property is responsible for municipal service charges. This is in accordance with California Health and Safety Code and our current Folsom Municipal Code. Since property taxes are the responsibility of and billed to the real property owner, the best practice for these services is to also bill directly to the property owner. Rental properties located in American River Canyon are serviced by San Juan Water District are subject to this practice already. So they have some of their bills coming from them for water and the rest coming from us. El Dorado Irrigation District, which will service future portion of our Folsom Plan area, also adheres to this practice. 30% of our monthly turnover in utility accounts is due to changes in tenants, and the same amount of customer service time is spent identifying new account responsibility. The owner of a parcel is an official county recorded document that can be searched at any time by our staff. This amendment would allow city to provide municipal billing more efficiently, economically, and accurately. Property owners may, if they desire, contractually arrange with their tenants to make payments for the utility bills. The city will provide an authorization form to property owners to allow tenants to receive a copy of the bill, provided the services will remain in the property owner's name, and the owner shall remain fully responsible and liable for the payment and service charges as if the bill had been sent to the owner. The Revenue Division is recommending an 18-month transition after this ordinance is approved. So as rental starts are requested, staff will provide an explanation of the change in process, what it means to them as a customer or a property owner, and how a tenant can be authorized to receive a copy of the bill. Additionally, it would allow for us to communicate with our commercial customers and property managers so that the necessary steps can be taken for this transition. So with that, it is my recommendation that City Council introduce and conduct the first reading of ordinance number 1319.
Okay.
Thank you.
The only problem I see with this is that I will guarantee you that the vast majority of the rental property owners of single families in Folsom do not have business licenses.
And currently they should if they are transferring it to their property owner. So that's something we already have required, is they
Okay.
can't, currently we won't transfer it to a tenant unless they have a business license. So in this instance, it's not changing a ton. They can still they can choose to not, but then we won't add them as an authorized party.
Okay,
on the account.
I'm anticipating this is something that is going to generate a bunch of phone calls.
Agreed, as it would be,
Okay.
it would be a change, but
Yep.
part of the transition, like I said, the 18-month and not just contacting immediately is allowing for the change and turnover of those tenants and being able to explain it.
Gotcha. Well, since you got the ball rolling, Sarah, any thoughts?
Just one, so a general question about utility payments anyway. Is everybody's bill like due the same time and it's all the same, or is, mine goes from the 15th of one month to the 14th of the next, and Mike's might be from the 20th night? Are we all in the same cycle or we're different?
So there is different cycles, but we bill essentially in 3 days for the most part. It's generally the last 3 business days of the month, and then the first 1 or 2 of the following month if necessary. So technically it's split into 3 days, but they're consecutive days. So everyone's due date and billing period is within, a 3-day time period.
Okay.
And the service dates are the same. So for our flat rate services, we bill ahead for the month. So it's from, November 1st to the end of the month. And then for water services, it is in arrears from the 10th to the 10th of the previous month because we're pulling in consumption.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to think. So if somebody, typically you would rent for the whole month, right? But if the bill isn't on the same schedule, I guess in terms of prorating the utilities or something, the landlord is going to have to do that manually for the tenant. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And we do have services like Drop Counter where they can go in and they can look at consumption for that date. But part of this ordinance would be that we would no longer be trying to prorate and split bills and assign charges between tenants, because that is what is generating quite a bit of our, time to try to do starting and stopping and figuring out who was responsible for what.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Liz.
YK, any questions?
Oh, no questions on this. I just want, since Sarah has a comment on the billing, right now it is default to credit card and $3.50 extra charge. That's the default when you open up that link.
Oh, is when you open up the Invoice Cloud link, you mean?
Yeah. Right? as soon as it opens up, it defaults to credit card and it adds automatically $3.50. If there is a chance of defaulting to check, which is no fee,
Right.
several people called me on that. I said, no, drop down, there is a check option. Of course, it's a phone call again.
Yeah.
Right?
I will
At least
adopt-
we can take out that perception that we
Right.
are overcharging
Yeah.
$3.50. Yeah, it's nothing to do with this ordinance,
Yeah.
but thank you.
No, but good comment.
Yeah, very good. Rosario, any
I'm
questions?
good, thank you.
Okay, great. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, I'll bring it back to the council.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the first reading of 1319.
Council members Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem Chella?
Yes.
Howe?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Kozlowski.
Yes. And our last item.
Your last item is item 17, ordinance number 1320, an ordinance repealing and replacing the garbage collection ordinance as set forth in chapter 8.32 of the municipal code to incorporate new state law mandates. Again, introduction and first reading of the ordinance.
Excellent. Can we do this one in 3 minutes?
I'll have to defer to our general services.
Give it a
manager.
shot.
Yeah, the item before you this evening is a comprehensive overhaul of Municipal Code Chapter 8.32, currently called the Garbage Collection Ordinance. The proposed ordinance, which is now going to be called the Waste and Recycling Collection Ordinance, is driven largely by the mandates of Senate Bill 1383, the state's greenhouse gas emission law, which mandates that local agencies do their part to reduce methane emissions by instituting organic waste collection practices. At this time, I'll turn the presentation over to Marie McKeith, our General Services Manager, who will walk you through the specific changes to the ordinance and answer any questions that you have. With us also this evening is Sarah Isabel Moe, our new recycling supervisor, who can also provide answers on the ordinance. Well, go ahead, Marie.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. So as Mark mentioned, we are proposing to repeal and replace our entire garbage collection ordinance due to the changes required by SB 1383. And this change, just the process of adopting an enforceable ordinance is actually part of SB 1383. So just to start with just a brief background, the current ordinance was adopted in 2006. It's chapter 8.32. It was also in response to recycling laws, and now as we are having some new laws take effect, we have to make some changes. So SB 1383 is a greenhouse gas emissions law. The method of reducing greenhouse gas emissions is to remove any organic waste that's going to the landfill, which is how the solid waste industry is impacted. And so we are required to adopt this new ordinance, and with all of our review of the ordinance, including going through every detail and definition and cleaning up some old language and redundancies, we found that it was necessary to actually rename the ordinance to the Waste and Recycling Collection as opposed to Garbage Collection.
So garbage has been canceled?
Garbage is canceled.
You couldn't call it Folsom's short-lived climate pollutant reduction bill?
Can we make that revision before the, before the second reading? Yeah. So actually, the funny thing is, we did change the definition of garbage. So then we found that we actually had to change the name of the ordinance because the definition wouldn't work anymore. So the remainder of my presentation, I'm just going to go through the top 5 changes to the ordinance. They're the most significant changes and the ones that are directly related to 1383. So the first one is that we changed the language to reflect the mandatory participation that is required by the new law. All businesses and residents are subject to 1383, and not only will the municipal code then require everyone to have containers, but actually to use the containers and put items into the correct containers, and otherwise it would be a violation of this ordinance. So the second big change was that we established responsibility. We found that it was very challenging in trying to enforce or do any kind of encouragement to get people to comply with the current commercial organics recycling law. One of the barriers to that was that we couldn't really establish who had responsibility because we have utility accounts that are in property managers' names, but then the property manager would point back to the business and say, no, they have to do it. And then we'd have, 5 businesses who share a dumpster who each are supposed to get their own can. So it really wasn't practical. So we established that the responsibility falls with whoever is responsible for providing any shared services. And Liz and I have talked, and this is consistent with the changes that she is making. So in this case, the responsible party then would be the property owner. We also incorporated 2 new sections to account for edible food recovery. This is new to solid waste. We have always been good at throwing stuff away, but now we are expected to recover it for human consumption. So these are new to the waste and recycling ordinance, and they establish responsibility for both the food recovery organizations and the generators of food. This part of SB 1383 only impacts certain businesses that do generate food. And the requirements of the city are that we ensure that there's a program, we ensure there's capacity, we administer the program, and we have it as part of our compliance record. For the generators and the recovery organizations, there's specific contracting requirements and record-keeping requirements as well. And those are all spelled out within the ordinance. And then number 4, we added a specific section for inspections and investigations because we are required to do some monitoring of the containers as part of SB 1383. And so although we already had authority to monitor what goes into containers from our existing municipal code in the enforcement section of the municipal code, this is new to the solid waste section. And what gives us a little bit different authority than the other code is that it gives us the authority to do random inspections and investigations to verify compliance, and then also requires entities to cooperate by allowing us access. And of course, our primary method of doing the inspections and investigations would be to look at containers when they're out for service or in a commercial enclosure. And then the last one I have for you is enforcement. We did already have an enforcement section in our code, but we did have to modify it to address the specific requirements of SB 1383. So some of the changes to it were that we defined an education period specific to residential compliance. That's because this is new to everyone in the residential sector. And so we defined about 1.5 years. This was also defined within 1383 that we're saying our primary focus really is education. We also defined the enforcement procedures and gained authority through the code. And we updated the penalty amounts because those are dictated by SB 1383, so we had to change our penalty amounts. And with these changes, we also ensured that we didn't do anything to restrict our ability to enforce during the first 1.5 years where we have this education period. But of course, the focus would be to try to make sure everybody knows what they're doing and help everyone to become compliant without having to do too much enforcement. So, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. 7 minutes. Good
Yeah.
job.
Hey, I have
Shortest presentation.
I have what I hope is a quick question. Did you get any input from both the grocery stores or food sellers versus the restaurant industry? Because I think those are going to be 2 very different answers about who's throwing away what and who's going to consider what things to be edible versus not edible.
Not yet. So SB 1383 has a very specific list of who falls under this compliance effort. And we recently contracted through a regional RFP with R3 Consulting Group to do the research and put together the lists and start that process.
Because I know that many of the grocery stores in town, if they have things that are about to go out of code or maybe have already gone out of code that they don't want to keep on their shelves, most of the ones that I'm familiar with are really good about making donations to food banks or other areas where that food will in fact be consumed by someone who needs it.
Mhm.
But a restaurant situation is it's a very different animal.
It
It's
is-
much smaller
yeah.
quantities, and what a restaurant may determine is no longer edible, that's because they're not gonna sell it. But they're, I'm not gonna contract with, Twin Lakes Food Bank, hey, I got food that's out of code tomorrow, do you guys want it?
No,
It's just
and
too much effort on the part of a restaurant to do that.
It is, and they'll be required to have some kind of edible food recovery for that, but the city is actually required to ensure that there's available edible food capacity for that. So that's part of the responsibility of our consultant. The first step is to go through and identify what's available in the region. Doesn't necessarily have to be in Folsom, but it has to be available. There are also, we're seeing that there are apps becoming available that can get what's referred to as the tier 2. The restaurants are tier 2. They don't start this until January of 24. Do I have that date right? Okay. And so we do have a little bit more time with planning for these. And so the consultant is looking at different options on how we can work with the tier 2 or the.
Yeah, it's just that's going to be a
prepared
very
food.
different animal.
Mhm.
Twin Lakes Food Bank, as an example, goes to grocery outlet with their van and picks up a couple hundred pounds of food.
Yeah.
It might be, I've got 3 tomatoes. Does somebody want to come pick them up? Probably not.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah.
But that will be it is part
Okay.
of the regulation.
Just something to keep in the back of your minds.
Yeah, for sure. And we've also found that most of the grocery stores are already doing a substantial amount. They have contracts. They're going to, for large part, they're going to already be compliant from the start. Now we just have to keep track of it. So.
Got it. Other questions from the council? Rosario, anything?
I just want to share, my mother's been staying with me for the past week, and she's from San Francisco. So they've been doing this for a long time, and I just got a crash course on how it goes, and so I am ready to go. Yeah.
Excellent.
That's it.
That's
My,
great.
my wife insists that putting wine corks into these little small containers cuts down on fruit flies. Have anybody heard that? Oh, that
I
wives'
have
tale?
not heard that.
I'm not going to say old in this
You've heard
case.
that.
Yeah. I
Not sure
guess.
how
I
that
don't know.
would work.
Who knows? YK, any questions? Nothing? Okay, very good. Any?
I have two maybe silly questions, but where it talks about permission required, no person may collect, gather, recycle, or dispose of solid waste within the city without permission of the city council. Does that apply to the Boy Scouts when they collect Christmas trees?
I'm not sure because they bring them to us and.
That's basically
we
the
work
city's
with them.
collecting them.
I was just curious. That's kind of what I thought when I was reading that.
I would imagine that since we're working with them, we're giving them some permission.
Okay, good. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them not to be able to do it. And then just another dumb question because I don't drive down the alleys very often. So if you live on an alley, there's no requirement that you put your garbage can away out of view like there is for me in my street. The reason I ask that is because residents with private driveways and residences having street frontage only, the language is exactly the same between all three categories, except for on the residences with alley access, there's nothing that says you have to have your can put away by 6 a.m. the following day of trash pickup. And so I just thought maybe they don't have to put their cans away.
Yeah, I don't think that they do. I know from, driving through Folsom, the cans in the alleys are out all the time.
Okay, that's
That
good.
is always the case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any public comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll bring it back for a motion or other comments.
I'll move ordinance number 1320.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Aquino?
Yes.
Chalem-Chella?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
Yes.
Kozlowski?
Yes. Okay, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. As the City Council will recall, we invited PG&E to your last meeting to explain a large-scale tree removal project they are planning on implementing in Folsom for completion by the end of the calendar year. PG&E did not show up at the meeting after hearing from very concerned community members and the council. During that meeting, staff was directed to send a very strongly worded letter to PG&E, and we also filed a CPUC complaint against PG&E. The letter resulted in a phone call from a vice president from PG&E to me the same evening I sent the letter, and I wanted to report back that that in turn resulted in a walk along the Oak Avenue Parkway corridor where native oaks that we're very concerned about removing, we discussed, and what the outcomes are right now is that no oaks of any size or diameter may be removed by PG&E from the project area pending further discussions with PG&E. They can trim or prune the oak trees in the meantime. PG&E is going to provide engineering information we discussed regarding loads and sags on the lines that are above some of these trees. PG&E is going to provide an updated comprehensive list of all the trees, native and non-native, that are going to be removed or trimmed. Once that list is finalized and reviewed in concert with the city arborist, PG&E will provide one uniform marking of any native oak trees to be removed, and our arborist will provide a corresponding marking on the trees. So there has to be two markings on an oak tree for it to be removed, kind of that cooperative agreement between the entities. Before any tree removal takes place, we hope to be in a...
Call that trust but verify.
Yeah, pretty much. Before any tree removal takes place, we hope to be in a place where the city and PG&E can issue a joint news release telling a good news story of partnership between the agencies. PG&E has provided a name and direct phone number for the community to serve as a point of contact for information on the project. PG&E will provide a tree bank to the nursery to mitigate for trees that are lost. And finally, PG&E will be coming to the City Council. They're going to come this time on Tuesday, at your Tuesday, December 14th meeting to proactively share information about the project with all of you and interested community members. I also wanted to share that last night we had a community meeting sharing information about our proposed solid waste rates. I was joined by Public Works Director Mark Rackavan, General Services Manager Marie McKeith, and also Recycling Supervisor Sarah Isabel Moe. So thank you to all of them. We did record that session, and you can find it on our website if you're interested in learning more about the proposed solid waste rates. The public hearing on solid waste rates is December 14th, which is also when any protests to the rates are due, and there needs to be a majority protest plus one for the rates not to be enacted. Let's see. I also wanted to share that, as you know, the city is mid-process in transitioning to by-district elections, and we do have our mapping tools up on our website right now if you're interested in kind of taking a stab at how you think districts should be drawn in the city, including a paper map drawing kit if you just kind of want to go old school and not use electronic tools, but both options are available to you. Your maps are due to the city by January 3rd, and the City Council's third public hearing on this issue will take place on January 11th of 22. And then finally, the Veterans Day Parade will take place at 9 a.m. This Thursday with over 2,000 participants, starting from the Target Home Goods parking lot along East Bidwell Street, and then to Coloma Street, and finally down Natoma Street to a special ceremony honoring veterans at our Veterans Memorial by the library. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to, comment first tonight. Thank you very, very much for the work on the PG&E tree issue. That took a lot of concerted effort by a bunch of the city staffs with the city manager's leadership, and things are heading in the right direction. We still need, there's a number of steps that need to happen, but the message was heard loud and clear, both from our staff and from our community, that trees are important to us here in Folsom.
Yeah, and I neglected to mention the mayor was with us out with PG&E on that walk, so thank you very much for that leadership.
That was my pleasure. And I was corrected a couple of times, and I'm going to correct the city manager I was corrected by Amy Nunez that we are not talking about native and non-native trees. We're talking about oaks and not oaks. Because there are native not oaks out there. So anyhow.
Good point, yes.
Very good.
And
All
a
right.
certain council member also narked on them.
Yes.
That's what happens when safety vests are in the, along the trail around the corner from said narking council member's house. First thing in the morning, and I called, Elaine, get over there right now.
Yeah, we contacted between all of us, I think every state department that has anything to do with trees. So it was a big effort, and thank you everybody.
We branched out.
We branched out literally. Okay, Rosario, any comments tonight?
You do. So the Folsom's Women's Conference is coming up next Thursday, November 18th. If you haven't been to one of these are great events, hanging out with dynamic women. The Foothill Wine Fest is coming up on Saturday, November 20th at the Palladio. This is a great way to support plus 50 local wineries from Amador to Nevada County. And I just want to say that I'm very proud to live in a city that still honors veterans with a parade. And to all of our veterans, thank you for your service. And we won't see each other next couple of weeks, so happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. YK?
Oh, we don't have the next meeting. Happy
We
Thanksgiving.
have a next meeting. It's just 4 weeks from now.
I joined the Folsom Cordova School District 2x2 meeting, and two active items are I'm pursuing. One is our school campus safety. It's still, I think, school board is appointed a safety commission, and they're going to submit a report about our schools as well as Rancho Cordova schools. So I'm paying close attention to that, and I'll definitely bring the outcome of that one. And also, I did introduce the new topic to the same team. How about our peak hour traffic at schools for all 15 schools? How interesting what we have done, what can be done in the future. So that's another thing, discussions going on. So I'm learning first before I can even offer anything, and this is where probably we can work with the city manager and Chief Hellman about. We are talking about the caps and all those. Not to say anything, at least if we have a problem, how do we address it? That's all the point I'm putting in front of the school board. And also, out of curiosity, I joined Regional Water Authorities last meeting as a guest. It was a wonderful 2 hours meeting and talking and listening to all 18 agencies, how they are bringing the water, discussions. And of course, a CBI cybersecurity agent was on the call, and he was talking about how safe our water treatment plants are from the cyber threat. So I think he's going to again give it to presentations to all the technology people from these 18 agencies. I'm very much interested to see those ones. Out of curiosity, me being the tech guy, I pinged him offline, hey, Agent Walker, do you want to talk to me? I said, yeah, absolutely. And he jumped on me on Monday, yesterday, and he brought another agent, and he threw a question, is your Folsom critical infrastructure inventory is safe? I said, what is that? And he asked me, some information. How about your traffic light system? Is that secure and safe? It is cyber threat prone, and all those. So I said, I'll talk to my city manager and see what are all those critical infrastructure for city of Folsom. Define those, and they love to come to our town and talk to all of our staff helping. This is again the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the security experts. So I was impressed on the way they reacted for me, and they spent 25 minutes with me, and we were talking more techie talk. So I just want to bring to all of your attention, Elaine, I'll talk to you offline. It so happened yesterday. And Veterans Day, yep, I'm all ready for it and pumped up, and I'm bringing some cultural diversity to the Veterans Day, like a dragon dance on our Veterans Day to respect our veterans. And last but not least, the rains are out there, see, click, fix. If you see a storm water or something, please, residents, I request, use See, Click, Fix Folsom app, and we will come and fix it. With that, good evening, Folsom. Thank you.
All right. Carrie.
It's raining. Slow down. Please look up, the things that can happen if your tires are not in good contact with the roadway. It's dark at 5 o'clock now, so if you're out walking, please wear clothing where you can be seen. If you're on a bicycle, it's a requirement that you have lights on the bicycle so you can be seen. And just slow down in general, and red lights and stop signs apply to you and everyone else in this community, so please pay attention to them.
Very good.
Nothing exciting going on at Regional SAN. Things are going well at RT. In fact, RT was given a national award yesterday for being one of the best public transit agencies in the country. That award was given out in Orlando yesterday morning, I believe. And construction continues on the connector. And Mark, just one more reminder, we need to get together and talk about that. That's all I have. Happy Thanksgiving.
Okay, thank you. Sarah?
I want to thank the city manager and city attorney. I have noticed that there is additional detail in the professional service agreement staff reports. Councilmember Chalanturla and I met with them and asked for a little bit more information, and I think that it is exactly what I was looking for, so thank you very much.
Welcome.
In addition to the city going through the districting process, as you probably know, the California Independent Redistricting Commission, or whatever it's called, is going through that process, and I have been following it. I believe the final maps are due December 20th. Right now, it seems like the congressional and state senate districts that they have Folsom in pretty much make sense. The congressional, a lot of Sacramento County cities, Fair Oaks, Gold River, Citrus Heights, North Highlands, Carmichael, Antelope, and then a lot of Placer County, state senate, same. I will tell you that the district they have us in for the assembly right now is absolutely ridiculous. The only Sacramento County cities are Folsom and Rancho Cordova. Then they put us with Placer, El Dorado, Alpine, Mono, and Inyo counties. So basically that assembly district would go from Tahoe down to the San Bernardino County line.
It makes no sense.
Wait, that doesn't make sense?
It doesn't make sense at all. It's like Folsom and Rancho Cordova are complete afterthoughts. So I know that December 14th agenda is getting packed, but we may want to consider some sort of resolution for that commission saying, hey, this makes no sense whatsoever, but we do need to keep an eye on it.
Because we have a lot in common with San Bernardino.
Well, it doesn't include San Bernardino County, but it goes down to that. But it has us with all kinds of rural counties and cities with whom we would have nothing in common, and we would just never see that assembly member. So finally, as we all know, we have a lot of businesses in Folsom that are in desperate need of employees, a lot of restaurants. We've got hotels that want to rent rooms, but they can't because they have no one to clean them. So I've been talking with Joe Gagliardi and Shannon Robb from the Greater Folsom Partnership for quite some time. And Shannon and I really feel like we need a citywide kind of World War II-esque campaign, a combination of Uncle Sam saying, we need you, and Rosie the Riveter saying, we can do it. And so I am putting my money where my mouth is. Back Bistro is in desperate need of hostesses and bussers, and so I am going to help them out a couple nights a week starting this Thursday. I have no restaurant experience whatsoever. But I figured if Queen Elizabeth, back when she was a princess during World War II, could be a mechanic, I can bust tables. So if you come to see me, be kind, be patient. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Aquino, I think you're rapidly gaining experience because you've been at Moss Taco. Yeah. You've been around now. You keep saying you don't have this experience, but you keep helping out.
Wow, I'm not sure how I follow that. I was just going to congratulate both the Twin Lakes Food Bank and the Folsom Police Foundation for throwing galas in the last 2 weeks that were phenomenal fundraisers. A lot of us got to attend, but I think in both cases, each organization managed for very good causes to raise something north of $75,000 or $80,000. So once again, an example of how generous the Folsom community is, and we us putting our money where our mouth is in this case. So great.
I wish I could have gone to both of them, but I was busting tables.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if there were only more employees available to carry. And then this past Saturday and into Sunday morning, there was NorCal Ultras, which is a race organizer. put on a 100-mile race that is used by many people as a qualifier for the Western States race that happens next year. And a bunch of Folsom residents went out there and ran themselves all the way to Cool and all the way back in the course of somewhere under 30 hours. And one particular Folsom resident who we all kind of know, Jason Davis, went out and did that in 22 and a half hours, started in the middle of the night, finished in the middle of the night, and caught me off guard because I was planning to be there at the finish line when he got there, and he accelerated over the last like 20 miles to the point where I slept right through when he was going to show up. But I did get to be there for the gun to go off at 5 in the morning on Saturday, and then at the 30-hour cutoff at the finish line. And I have to tell you, the very last finisher was weeping as she finished with like 2 minutes to spare, and it was really inspirational. And it's an enormous feat of physical exertion that I can hardly believe that people take it on. They had 360 people entered, and like 240 got there in 30 hours, and only one person was trying to make it and didn't make it, and the others dropped out for a variety of reasons, but that's typical. So anyway, that's really cool, and thank you to NorCal Ultras for putting those races on. And we have our access to the trails that lead out into the foothills is unmatched, so we're a good home base for those things. The Wine Fest that Rosario mentioned is November 20th. One of the local wineries, Crystal Basin Station on Sutter Street, is one of the primary hosts of that, and I will be pouring wine for them at that event. So I'm not any good at bussing tables, but I can empty a bottle of wine pretty good. And we are getting into that.
And one of the restaurant owners that are sitting up here is that's 50% of our wine sales is Crystal Basin. So
perfect. That's great. They're wonderful.
And the rest of our wine sales is from the other tasting room across the street from Crystal Basin on Sutter Street. So.
Perfect. So with that in mind, we are getting into that season, and everybody in Folsom did a fantastic job last year of patronizing our local businesses and buying Christmas gifts down on Sutter Street and elsewhere through the city. Do it again, please. And with that, I will call this meeting to a close. We are adjourned at 9:28, and we are going to resume our closed session in the other room.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, so that folks don't have to stay up watching the council meeting on live webcast or cable TV, the city council will adjourn its special meeting after they're finished with closed session, and there will be no final action to announce for any of the items tonight.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Well, with that, good night to everybody.